Hello, and welcome to the Saladcast on Sunday, the 19th of October, 2014. I'm your host, Dan Train. Joining me today, Zachary Burgess.
I'm even more coffee and sniffy than usual. I think I may have actually got slightly an actual cough rather than just my normal thing.
And Robert Kemp.
Hello.
An actual
word
cough.
This week. It was an actual word that came out of Rob's mouth.
An actual word and an actual cough excuse, but sans any kind of cough. In fact, I didn't even notice you coughing in your usual preparatory manner before we started recording.
Really? Really? Because I did, like, a lot.
Yeah, did you? Okay. Maybe I was getting a drink or something.
Are you just attuned to, like, just not noticing that Zach coughs all the time now? It's just part of the ambiance.
Yep.
Well, maybe.
That's the case.
Zach's coughing's not as bad as my sniffing, probably.
Well, my sniffing might be bad today.
Okay.
No, Dan's sniffing's only worse because his mic picks it up better.
Yeah, that's the trouble. I need some kind of sneeze guard thing or sniff guard.
You can't. That doesn't really help, does it? You get those DSers, I suppose, or the spit guards, or whatever they are. But...
Yeah, I just have a dynamic mic, and it's just got the little wind resistor on it, but it's not. I don't think it's meant to actually stop popping or anything. I think it does help, but it's not.
Pop guard. That's it.
Yeah, pop guard. That's the one.
Proper name.
Yeah. I don't know if it would
stop
help
all those Lady Gagas from invading your microwave. Wait, microwave.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
That's exactly what they're for.
Whole parade of Lady Gagas, all the different like meat dresses and stuff, ready to be microwaved, all marching in and invading.
Oh man, I so meant microphone, but I don't know what happened.
You so meant it.
I meant it hard. So pop stars can't theoretically use your microphone then if they have a pop guard on it.
No, got
I think that probably all microphones that pop stars do use have pop guards on them because they actually have proper microphones.
Oh man, someone needs to invent a better pop guard.
Not pop guard, it's a pop filter. That's what I think they're called. It filters the pop, but in an unspecified way. It doesn't. You don't know what kind of filtering it's doing. It's not filtering it out.
Oh no,
apparently not.
It's an inclusive filter. It's like there's nothing but pop.
Only lets pop through. Okay, so it doesn't actually pick up any other kind of sound apart from pop music.
That would be actually really helpful, I imagine.
Oh, yeah.
Convenient.
It'd be good if you like had a. That's what you need on your iPhone, isn't it? Or like if you have like noise cancelling headphones.
On your iPhone, that'd be terrible. Trying to make a phone call to people. The only way you can communicate is by playing different pop songs out there.
No, I meant when you're on the music app. But,
oh right. What, you activate the pop filter on the music app, and then you can't play any metal because it gets filtered out. Why would you want that?
It would be great if it converted it, like Fantasia style, into a different genre. So you'd be listening to it. Or it would be like some kind of Spotify recommendation service. And it's like, well, I like Metallica, but I wish it was a lot more like Jamie Cullum. Or... what if Ollie Murs sang System of a Down?
It's always about taking like heavy metal music and converting it into some lighter variant, like, well, obviously lounge or whatever, like Richard Cheese. But I've got some friends from university who are doing that, but they're a trio of girls doing, singing in harmony, doing lounge covers of Limp Bizkit, and the latest one is Korn, I think.
Good choice.
They actually opened for Limp Bizkit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
They're called the Lounge Kittens. Check them out, I guess. Her name's Jenny. She's a nice girl.
That's amazing.
But you never get... Well, no, you do get the other way around, though, don't you? What am I talking about? You do get
you totally
metal people
versions.
doing...
Yeah, 10 Masked Men is a good example, where they did Sweet Like Chocolate in, like, thrash.
Who was the one that did Spandau Ballet Gold in screamy mode?
I can't remember. Yeah.
The thing is, that only works if you know the original song, but they all do, I suppose.
Always believe in your soul. Okay, I got introduced to Van Canto by a good mate of mine, which basically they do metal songs, but it's all a cappella.
Right.
People they don't like change the style, but they just a cappella the metal. Like, so it's like they use their voices to do all the guitars and stuff.
Oh, I see. Oh, I see. So you keep all the instrumentation, but it's just all done vocally.
Done with people's voices. Yeah, I think the only thing they do keep is drums. They'll keep a drum kit,
Right?
but everything else is vocal.
Do they do like meadly guitar solos?
Yeah,
Are they Tweedly and Meadly,
before.
isn't it?
Tweedly and Meadly, or is it Squeedly?
Oh, Squeedly. Yeah, I think you're right. Squeedly and Meadly.
Squeedly wins.
That was great when they put that into from Strong Bad into what was it, Guitar Hero 2?
Guitar Hero 2, yeah.
Yeah,
I recently put that back on my phone just to come up in the car occasionally.
What, the Strong Bad CD?
Oh no, just Trogdor.
Just Trogdor. Okay.
Trogdor. It's awesome.
Well, they did say they were back, and they did have a new song. So
I still haven't checked that out.
That's as much as there's been, of course.
I still haven't gone back to it since.
And it's been like.
Well, they said there'd be a Halloween thing.
Yes, I guess that's
true.
They haven't got to that point yet. And normally the Halloween ones were always bigger than the average, I guess. So if they're making a grand comeback, they might want to make it even bigger still.
Yes,
or maybe not.
Well, they had to do costumes for every character, didn't they?
There's a Strong Bad reference in Guacamelee.
Of course there is.
Yeah, it's the best fit.
It's like a perfect fit for Guacamelee because he's already a wrestler.
Exactly.
And there's a reference to most things in Guacamelee to me.
In fairness, there's quite a few.
Yeah.
There's the spy meme is in there, isn't it? I believe, with all the cigarettes in the mouth. Gentleman, yeah. Mental gentleman.
I'm not sure I spot that one.
I believe that's in there.
That's a classic.
I was going through watching all the meet the class videos the other day. It's still classic. They got really over the top though. I guess that's how it works though. But the earlier ones, the short ones, they're still really good.
Yeah, they're okay. The problem is I think they've sort of been overshadowed somewhat. Is the problem. Like the ones that they've made now have got such, I don't know, good comedic value that the shorter ones don't quite pull you in as much.
Why are we talking about this again? We already discussed this situation that I don't like Meet the Pyro nearly as much as all the other ones.
Meet the Pyro is pretty funny, yeah, but it's one of those ones where once you've watched it once, it doesn't work as well as the others. Like unlike Meet the Spy, or
I think Meet the Demo Man is the worst one.
That is definitely the worst.
I was wondering what would Meet the Demo Man look like if they did it now, like after all the demo pan business. Do you think his character would be different? Because his character's quite weak compared to the other characters.
Yeah, I think. Well, his character's just a weird stereotype, isn't it? It's just
but he's
Scottish drunk person who just happens to be black.
Yeah,
he's like every token they could have put into the game. It's like all rolled into one.
Right, the three very famous token characters you have: black, Scottish, and drunk. all media.
It's true of The Simpsons, isn't it?
I don't think most of them count as tokens in The Simpsons even at this point because they pretty much
drunk,
use them all.
Everyone's drunk in The Simpsons, but kinda. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, you're right. It just seemed like they ran out of ideas almost with Demo Man. It's just like, what have we got left?
Well, it's because you could say sort of at the time there wasn't anything to it. It's like all of the old ones. It's just like they hadn't made ridiculous other extra fiction by that point.
Yeah, maybe you're right because Meet the Soldier's pretty weak as well. If you like,
I don't know. It's okay.
It works, but the soldier as a character is kind of just cliche down the straight down the middle what you'd expect.
Well, he gets better in the other stuff later.
He does. They made him better, but they haven't made the Demo Man better. But
they didn't really change that much about the soldier. It's just like
no, but they somehow the fact that his character was interacting more with the other characters people, makes it work.
That's why That's why I guess those early ones are kind of poofy because it's just the one dude.
Yeah,
most of the time.
Monologuing. Well, except for Meet the Sniper, which is still kind of a monologue, isn't it? But that one somehow works.
Well, that was like the first one where it started to change.
Yeah, you're probably right.
The first more dramatic one. And he's like talking to his parents and stuff on the phone and stuff.
Yeah. So what was the ridiculous Miss Polly thing? Was that like fan made? And then
Which one?
There's been more than one now.
Well, what are you talking about?
Well, there was the big ridiculous, like super long one they did. There wasn't a meet the video.
You mean they've done several of those? Yes.
Have they? I've only seen the one where the scout is trying to like impress.
So that's like the second one of that sort of series-ish.
Oh man, I didn't realise there was two others.
Well, how have you not seen? I mean, there's all the other extra ones as well that sort of all mash into the same story, like the Man vs. Machine one and the.
I don't think I've seen those. Oh, they passed me. Oh, I'm missing out.
I didn't know there was one. Is there one beyond the mutating bread one? Then I thought that was the latest.
There's like the one that sort of precedes that one, sort of. That also, I think there's because they've introduced. They also have the comics, obviously, that introduce those characters as well,
right?
Like Miss Polly and all that stuff, and expand on the Man vs. Machine backstory and all that crap.
Not that I've read those, but it's good.
Well, apparently you haven't.
But I didn't realise. Well, yeah, I totally didn't know there was other videos.
There was even a video that I hadn't seen that somehow slipped past, which was like I don't know when it came out. I think it was in like one of the updates to Man vs. Machine, which obviously I didn't really care about, so maybe that's why I didn't see it. But there was like, I'm not sure if it was intended to be like a canonical explanation of like respawns, or whether that was just some weird thing they were doing for this one Man vs. Machine thing.
Right.
Because it's like the medic has devised a weird device that everyone carries with them, and then when they explode, they kind of just like reform, but just where they are. And it's that's not exactly how respawning works, but it's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe they are trying to figure that out in some way. Because they try and stay clear of like there being like the two teams facing off against each other, don't they? In those videos, probably somewhat wisely.
Really. I mean, they focus mainly on one team, and then the other team occasionally has a some small element in it.
They very well. They try and stay away from having two characters of the same class on opposing teams. You know what I mean? They don't like have two soldiers turn up, or they don't have two scouts. Although two scouts conversing with each other could be pretty funny.
Well, yeah,
because you gotta love the scout.
That's another very early. That's probably one of the earliest ones, isn't it? Meet the Scout. That one's.
No, I mean, Meet the Scout actually still kind of holds up though.
Well,
it's because the Scout's just awesome.
Well, yeah, and it is like a little bit of interaction with the heavy, of course.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yo, what's up?
If you were from where I were from, you'd be fucking dead. Where is he meant to be from? The Bronx or something?
Yeah,
Boston, isn't it? Because of the Boston.
Oh yeah, Boston.
Yeah,
Boston. Yeah, that makes more sense. Oh yeah, what's the dodgy area of Boston or whatever, like from The Departed and all that?
Don't know. Never actually seen that film. Kind of wanted.
Southie, isn't it? Southie. I don't know how you pronounce it.
Northie.
Yeah, presumably the south side is called Southie.
Okay.
I believe. Maybe wrong.
No, I don't really. As Zach and I were discussing earlier, geography has never been my strong point.
Why were you discussing that?
Well, we were watching some dumb quiz show, it was like categories about like different elements, like history and English and geography, and they always left geography until last. And I was like, why is everyone so bad at geography? I'd find it much easier to guess or answer a geography question than I would a history question. Not that I was particularly good at history or anything.
No, that's another area. History and geography, just I totally suck at.
But it's like you can almost guess geography questions because it's one of those like more logical subjects, whereas history is just like fact retention.
I guess, yeah. I get sometimes at least. It's like there are a few where they like talking about like what is the biggest of these or something, and that does require you to sort of
know, yeah,
at least know a little bit. Or if they go into like those sort of the areas of geography I never really liked, like where they're talking about demographics and stuff like that, or like social geography or whatever. What's the term, like when they're talking about like cities and populations and
human geography or some bullshit?
Yeah, as soon as people get involved, geography just becomes bullshit.
Fair enough. Well, I'm sure there's plenty of stuff non-human based geography to be into. Surely.
That's what geography really is, though, isn't it?
Yeah, geo, it's like study of the world, isn't it? But I guess
I suppose
the world includes humans. But I mean, the study of the world includes like all life and animals and stuff as well. So surely biology is like
that's
practically.
What geo means, is it? Geo means like literally rocks.
Yeah.
But that would be geology, wouldn't it? Is rocks, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's why it's the difference between the actual physical rocks and the way the rocks are arranged.
If we were translating it in the way you just described, surely geology is just worldology, like, which again should encompass everything. But I don't know.
Let's
like human science or whatever, human geography or whatever. It should be like a completely separate thing to me, because it's like because geography is like it's like the natural human divide, isn't it? Like natural stuff is geography, and the crazy social shit that we've come up with and our behaviours since then, it's just kind of separate.
Just look at the difference. I don't think there's like in terms of the actual meaning of the words. I think you're right. I think they practically mean the same thing, which doesn't make sense. It says that geography is from the Greek geographia or whatever, which is literally means earth description. Because I think the geo does mean earth, so phia must be description, right? Whereas geology, geo is earth, and ology is study of.
Study of.
Yeah, so they mean the same damn thing.
Well, that's what I was just saying, wasn't it? It's like geology is like what the rocks are made of, and geography is just where the rocks are.
Yeah,
they're in
that
space.
still holds up.
Maybe you should be a geologist then, Rob.
Like, I mean, I could, but that doesn't mean I find that interesting either.
Okay, fair enough. It's like when humans are involved, it's bullshit, but when they're not involved, then it's just not interesting either.
It's just boring.
It's just boring. Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't mean I think it's bullshit. It's just that it just probably bore me to tears. Like,
it's the difference between boring stuff and boring bullshit,
I'm not
which is even worse.
Either.
Okay.
That's what you do if you were doing geology, isn't it? You'd have to occasionally bore.
I expect you would. Bore into your own skull.
But I was only watching that show because it looked terrible.
Well, that is the classical reason to watch any dumb quiz show.
Have you heard of this
It's like bullshit.
before?
Let's watch it.
Yeah, exactly. Have you heard of this before, Dan? It's called Tipping Point.
No.
And Zach may have brought it up briefly.
Yeah,
on
I
the
told
cast
you about
a long
this
time
ages ago.
Yeah.
Like it was, I caught it one afternoon, but now apparently you can watch it in the evening as well.
Well,
Right.
yeah, it was just. Well, I guess it's a weekend thing, and it was the celebrity version of it. And but yeah, basically, like 2p pusher machines.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Like that's type you would see at Felix Dopier.
In arcades, yeah.
It's basically that, just with jumbo coins.
And quiz questions to determine how many coins you get.
Yeah.
So, are you more likely for them to actually fall than in those 2p machines?
Yes, the distance between of the shelves is really short, and there's no outlanes, so the coins just can't go into oblivion.
I see. So you always win if they fall off.
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, what you put in should come out. Theoretically, but
unless you suck, apparently.
Yeah.
So is there skill to the placement of the coins, or you just drop them in?
To a point. I mean, they have 4 drop zones, and you pick, which are just even segments across the machine, and you get to pick which of those you drop in. And you do still get a button in front of the player, so you can choose when to drop. But there's a hell of a delay between you pressing the button and it appearing in the machine. So you've got to try and
time it.
Yeah, your timing is tested. But ultimately, it is just a pusher. It's exactly the same.
And so you have to answer dumb geography questions to you in order to, or whatever.
Well, yeah, in the final, you get a choice of a list of categories, and you can choose how difficult you want the question to be in that category. we're only allowed one question per category, and that's how they gate your turns, I suppose. But yeah, right. if you're feeling confident, you go, give me 3 counters. And they'll give you 3 goes, 3 coins to put in. But the coins are like the size of your outstretched hand.
Pretty big. That big.
They were pretty big.
Well, it's kind of hard to tell anyway. He held one up. Away.
He held up that star coin at one point. It was pretty big, and it was yeah. But you know, in the rounds prior to that, when there's multiple players or something. Well, at least when there was, I saw it from when there was 2 of them. Like I don't know if there were more earlier.
Right.
But basically, you get asked a question, but you can choose to pass it to the opponent, and if you don't know it. And the opponent is forced to answer, basically. But if you get it right, you get a turn. If your opponent gets it wrong, you get a turn.
Mm.
If you get it wrong, your opponent gets a turn. But that's just basically how it goes. And it's whoever gets the most... They have to keep saying the tipping point whenever money drops over into the cash drawer.
They'll say the stupid
they have to say, "Oh, coins have gone over the tipping point."
Hey! That's the name of the show, as they say in Arrested Development.
Gone over the tipping point. You've got about £400 there. Let's add that to your total. Bing, wing, 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 wing. And the like the sound.
Game show sound.
Well, you seem quite into this, to be honest.
It's typically over dramatic, like game show productions. Everything has a real monstrous noise. Like when they choose the drop zone, it goes like that drop zone lights up, and then when he pushes the button, it's like boom, and then the coin then drops. And there's I think there's something in the machine or something because there were moments when the coins were moving, and it's like that would just make a slap noise against metal. It'd be like donk. But there's I think there's something in the machine that makes everything jingle a bit, so it sounds a bit more like coins. So it's like ching, ching, ching. So there's a lot of production, and then whenever the money is appearing on a screen, there's a noise, and whenever it goes into the person's bank, it's like going bling 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 bling. It's like everything has noise. It's crazy.
What's the ultimate stupid quiz show noise? I'm trying to think of I don't know quiz shows very well, but what's the one where it has that rising tone every time they hit something?
Right. Oh no, that's catchphrase. Yeah, or when you get it right on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, because you get that whenever someone gets a right answer.
Yeah, I guess.
But with a bit more of an orchestral flourish to it.
Bit less coming out of Rob's mouth.
Well, that one has the stupid thing where the lights go up during the bit where if you screw up you're really embarrassed, and then they go down and then has the stupid heartbeat, which is so dumb. Ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum.
Okay, good.
That's Rob's rendition of the ambient Who Wants to Be a Millionaire sound.
Speaking of stupid sound effects, right?
Yeah.
I was Noam was listening to Radio 2 the other day, just had it on in the kitchen. And I'm pretty sure every time I walked out there, it was I can't remember his name. It's not Woke, it's Blackburn, Tony Blackburn show, where he does that, I'm going to go through the chart shows of the 80s.
Right, God.
I'm pretty sure every time I walked out there, it was a masterclass on how to use the orchestral hit sound effect. Everything was like, brr, brr.
Orc hit, everyone's favourite thing on a MIDI keyboard.
Or Orch hit, as I always call
it. Orch hit, yeah.
Yeah.
Because no one knows that stands for orchestra. It's just a random sound.
But I don't think I've ever heard an orchestra make.
Do an orc hit, yeah. Can you imagine? You get the Royal Philharmonic and it's and then in the score it just says hit. It's like everyone goes, that'd be so fun to do as well.
It'd have to be so precise though, wouldn't it, to get it to everyone has to come in exactly right on time, and everyone has to cut at just the right time as well. It must be actually a real hard thing to get right.
You mean all musical notes ever?
Yeah, no, but some instruments have more of a tail off, and when you're working with that many people, there's bound to be a certain amount of
that's
fudgery.
That of the quality of the orchestra, then, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, to a point. Yeah. But it's a real hard thing to do.
If you've got a string instrument, how long is a hit? You have to draw the thing over the bow over the string a slight amount to make a sound, unless you just literally hit it.
Someone has to be keeping time just for the hit. I suppose if they were just to record just the hit, someone had to be like counting them in. So
well, yeah, you'd have to lead up to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, to me, it's like boop. That's quite a long actual sound. Boop.
And there are different types of orchids as well. Some of them sort of have a slight sort of wow, like a what sort of lead in with a pitch ups doing it, or masterclass of the orchid. Of the orchid.
Have you ever used an orchid in any compositions?
I think you have.
I think I have back in my early days.
Yeah, exactly.
I can remember. Actually, no, I can remember one back when I was still using Turbo Tracker on the Amiga. Well, I definitely had, because basically the amount of samples I had access to back in the Amiga days was really limited.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, okay, this particular library has an orchid, better use it.
Of course, for me, the ultimate sound effect to deploy in a song is the 808 cowbell, which sounds nothing like a cowbell at all.
No, it doesn't.
It just sounds like 80s hip hop. Such a great sound. And it's so distinctive. Like, it stands out. It's like the Wilhelm scream or something. It stands out a million miles. If you put an 808 cowbell in a song, everyone goes, I know that.
Yeah. You'll see it when the video goes up. Like, Zach and I recorded us playing Audio Surf, but obviously for licensing reasons, we chose to use all Glacial Spoon music.
Oh, sweet.
Gets us out of trouble. But,
that's convenient.
Zach played my latest one where I actually sampled a bit of Zach and put it in there.
What?
It's not a noticeable bit.
Well, because it's like when I'm editing the Saladcast, right? Like occasionally there are spikes that are a bit loud that the compression doesn't deal with, so I go and manually edit a few of them. Yeah. And sometimes when I'm like adjusting my thing, it creates like a nice little glitch sort of ish sample. Just enough of a clip of something so it doesn't make any sense, but it kind of sounds like, I don't know, a little electronic-y flourish.
Right.
And this particular one, I think, has Zach just going, get! It's like cut out and use that as an offbeat thing.
There's a little beat. Awesome.
And there's a very subtle sample of myself in the background as well. I can't remember what it was from, but I just have a cut of it going, wow! And it's like... So there's that in the background as well. Look forward to that when I post it on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
And I might upload it to my SoundCloud at some point when I can be bothered.
That's still like 2 videos in the future, though, isn't it?
Yeah. Anti-Chamber's got to go
quite a while
first.
until that one appears.
Well, that one's ready to go. Well, I just haven't uploaded it.
Yes.
Video editing fun times.
Yep. Now featuring musical Zachs.
Zach, have you still got your edited version of the Liam Lynch thing? The United States.
I've still got a copy of that.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
The United States of Unfunny.
Yeah, there we go.
That was so dumb.
There's a very unfunny bit more. Oh dear.
Are we done with random? That sounded like
I don't know.
Suitable pause.
Sure.
I think we may need to fill with some more random.
Yeah, because...
Well, let's get some fucking news in and then we'll see.
I was about to say, yeah, because the news of the last 2 weeks has been no news.
Yeah, it's nothing.
Yeah, this is a podcast about video games. It's my catchphrase.
We talked about Team Fortress a bit.
Yep, quite a lot.
We did. Yeah.
We got that in there.
Yeah, so
we
what's going on?
We might have to talk about that again later.
News!
Well, a couple of things been delayed, right, Rob? Didn't you say? We got Project Cars, Hotline Miami 2.
Project Cars is probably the biggest one, because that was supposed to come out start of December, end of November time.
Putting it all playable at EGX and stuff.
Yeah. Putting it in the sort of 2014, year of the driving game almost.
Yeah, well, they're trying to avoid some competition there with
I think it's probably wise. But they would have been kind of on their own in the simulation side, because if what people have been saying about Forza Horizon 2 and Drive Club of anything would go for, they're not simulation games in the same way that Forza 5 or GT are.
No.
So, they kind of would have been on their own regardless.
But even
probably, so... it's likely we'll see a Forza 6 next year, given that they always seem to have a 2-year cycle.
Do you think?
At the moment. Yeah, I think we'll see Forza 6 either... I think we'll see it next year. But
they'll probably do that thing where they had to cut down on the scope of it for the new next generation, and then the next one they shovel loads of content into it. So they usually do that, right? They must have done that for the
Well, they have been.
360, right?
They have released like 3 new tracks for free on Forza 5 since it came out. There's been Nürburgring, Long Beach, and Road America, I think, are the 3 that have been for free, and they've seamlessly just integrated those into the game.
Like, you played those?
Yeah, I've played them. They just come up when you're doing your career races now. Like they'll have moved stuff around in the listings, so these tracks come up as if they were normal. As if they'd always been there.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a nice touch.
That's cool.
It's nice that they did that. So maybe things like that would be the things that perhaps would delay the release of Forza 6, I guess. But if they carry on doing this, but depends how much of a jump they want to take. Like, because if it was Forza 5 was a launch game, they probably weren't totally. It's one of those things. They probably weren't totally 100% good with the hardware yet. So, maybe they'll take some time to actually. Okay, now we've got a game out and we've made Microsoft happy. Let's take our time to get it right, I suppose. Which might mean redoing the tracks again to incorporate more detail. Maybe replace those crowds.
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
That would be good. Although they were hilarious.
I was going through I was playing Forza 5 the other day, but because I'm still casually going back to that. But I did find one of the photos I'd taken was just a close up of a particularly surprised looking crowd member. It's just it was just sort of aww, not looking at any of the cars, of course.
Naturally.
Crowd in that game so dumb.
I'm still kind of looking forward to Project Cars. I have to say, I quite enjoyed playing it at Eurogamer, and since it's on PC,
PC is going to be the platform for it because on console you get Forza, right?
Well, yeah, if you're on Xbox.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think it will be as good as Forza, but I think it will stand up on its own right, hopefully, and be a good alternative on PC at least.
Yeah, because it's interesting that that's actually sort of getting a proper release, and I think it's actually not been in development as long as Assetto Corsa, which I think was a kickstarted thing.
Right.
Because that's been in early access for a while now. And that's also going for the whole sort of Forza GT, simulation thing.
Mm-hmm.
Probably nearer, actually, to GTR, I think, what Assetto Corsa is going for. Not quite full-on racing, but, that sort of physicsy realism. Or if it's anything like GTR, it'll be unplayably physicsy realism.
I mean, what's the pedigree of the Assetto? Who are the Assetto Corsa people?
I have no idea. I think I actually don't know anything really about that team or who's
because the Project Cards team are the Need for Speed Shift team, aren't they?
Yeah,
I think,
yeah.
And that was quite good,
Yeah, Shift was a really interesting game. Because it tried to do things differently, and I think it went up against Grid, weren't they really closely released or something? Those two.
Yeah, I think so.
And Grid won out, and that's probably correct. It probably was the more fun game, but I liked the Shift's direction of really focusing on the head cam stuff and trying to make you feel like you were actually racing the car. So when you took a collision on something, your driver would get slightly disoriented and stuff like that. That was cool. That was a nice way to go. So they probably won't be going that far with Project Cars, but for what from what I know about it, it just seems like they're just doing a simulation racer. But
pretty much. But yeah, I mean, it's good to know they've got some imagination and they've got some, got a bit of that in their past.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, so that's one less thing to worry about for the 2014 lists, I suppose.
That's true.
I've got something we missed from last time. Not really news, but when we were doing our EGX coverage, we didn't talk about Little Big Planet 3.
I didn't see that at the show. Did you see it?
Yeah, Kips and I actually played it.
Okay.
I just totally forgot to talk about it last time, probably because I'd talked about EGX for so long. We were just like, let's move on. It's Little Big Planet, man. It looks and feels and handles like Little Big Planet, even with the new characters. It's kind of, you know what you're getting into. I mean, it looks sharp. Don't get me wrong. It's running at like full 1080 on a PS4.
Yeah,
and that aesthetic always looked good.
Mm.
And I think that's maybe part of the problem, and that because that aesthetic always looked real good on PS3.
There's not much of a dramatic difference, right?
No, it's like other than you noticing it being sharper, there isn't really a great improvement. And again, because they scoped it for PS3 so perfectly. But it seems to play well. The new characters do add something, and when I was playing with Kips, it was a surprisingly good. I'd win more fun with it than I was expecting. Yeah, you got to play through 2 levels. One is Toggle, the crazy fat small guy,
right?
Who obviously has his weight affects the world differently depending on what state you're in, and the dog character, whatever the heck that was called, who can like run up walls a bit better, making platforming kind of a bit more fast paced.
Cool.
And it looked like it had a few new tricks up its sleeve regarding depth. Like there were walls that were moving in 3D space, which I don't think the previous Little Big Planet games could do.
What, in and out of the depth?
Yeah, so there were platforming elements that required you to judge the depth in order to do things. And it's like, that was kind of interesting. Kind of funny when both players sort of screw up, that kind of thing. Which again makes me think it'll be exactly the same. And I like Little Big Planet, but it's much more likable when you're playing it co-op because crazy shit happens. Or it seems to benefit from both players being equally bad.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel really any different, partly because they're having to, they've made the decision to be backwards compatible with everything from Little Big Planet 1 and 2.
Right.
So the entire library of user-created stuff will be usable in Little Big Planet 3. Which is, it's somewhat impressive that they're sticking with it, but at the same time, that probably holds them back from tightening up the mechanics.
That's what would worry me. It's like, because trying to maintain that backward compatibility might limit the.
Because we always thought it was a bit floaty, didn't we? Like, it's not very precise.
Yeah.
How Sackboy handles, and maybe that's why they're introducing the new characters. Maybe Sackboy will still be as floaty and focused on guns and handheld objects as he now seems to be. All the other characters will take over the platforming mantle. I don't know. Apart from Sweep. But it seemed like they were from the demo they were showing levels specifically designed for certain characters, meaning that some of the early worries of that initial demo that they showed at E3, where it was like, oh, here's all the characters at once, and Swoop's just easy mode. If they design the levels for the characters, they can make stuff compelling. Whereas if they just, every level could be used by every character, except it won't work because then we have to design for every character. Then it'll be boring for some. I don't know. I guess that was obvious that they were going to do this, but reportable, I suppose. One bad thing though, loading times were unbelievably bad.
What? Why does this happen when you got so much RAM on these new consoles? And
it's still in development. I can't say that that's indicative of the final product, but it would do that thing that Little Big Planet does, where you click on a level and it shows like the loading symbol around the level while you're still in the menus. But then that would happen, and then it would go to a loading screen separate from that. So it had 2 loading screens, and each one took a while. So yeah, sort out your loading. Little Big Planet 3, that's all I've got to say. There you go. Could be. It's probably alright. If you like Little Big Planet, it'll be more of it, whatever.
Yeah. I mean,
something to actually get for your PlayStation, other than Assassin's Creed, I suppose.
Yeah, they're kind of lacking in exclusives at the moment. I bought a PS4, so I had a bit. I really like that controller. The
controller's sweet.
Yeah, it's really sweet.
Not denying that.
yeah, she was playing Alien, and I'll talk about that in a bit. But that you could get that on any console, works, and PC. So,
it's a great platform if you like third-party games.
Yeah,
but Sony being Sony, their first-party lineup so far has been kind of rubbish, and that's not enough to make me want one.
Yeah, I mean, traditionally they can't. Who do they have? They've got Gran Turismo. They've got Naughty Dog. They've sort of got Metal Gear, although that now runs on everything, doesn't it? Can you get?
Yeah, but the PS4 version is, if Ground Zeroes is anything to go by, is the go-to. Well, because we haven't really seen a PC version in action yet.
Well, it's coming out soon, isn't it?
Yeah, they said MGS5 will be on PC, but
but they're putting out Ground Zeroes on PC like before Christmas, I think, on Steam. Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
I might get that depending on the price, but I can't imagine it be too expensive given how short it is.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they might time it with a Steam sale or something. Maybe.
Yeah,
it's already been briefly discounted on Xbox Live as part of the deals with Gold thing.
Right. That game looked fun.
I think it came down to like £22 odd as opposed to its like 30 normal price tag that it has here, which is still way too high for that.
Yeah,
as it is.
It seems cool. I don't know. I have to say that Metal Gear Solid 5 ridiculous full-on recovery system mechanic is so dumb that it still really annoys me how stupid it is. Because you just, from all the gameplay videos I've seen, you're just using it constantly to like lift shit into the air. It's just hilarious. Like,
but that's the thing. Everyone that's played it has said, it's super dumb, but Metal Gear is super dumb. Fucking deal with it.
That's true.
And that it's just a great fun mechanic to use.
That's true. I don't know. But it's like they go through so much lengths to make it sort of not believable, but at least kind of techno-thrillery. Like, I don't know. I guess that counts in that. Because, I mean, it is a real thing, the Fulton recovery, but you just can't summon it in a second and, like, nobody notices when a giant plane flies past. Yeah. You're just airlifting sheep.
I'm still not sure about MGS5. I'm not sure I like the direction. Well, I was never an MGS fan in general, but MGS3 is probably the one I could got on with the least.
Right.
And, I just couldn't get started with it. It was just didn't enjoy it right from the off.
That one was the weird 60s one that had all the kind of survival mechanics and shit, wasn't it?
Yeah. They went way too far with that stuff for my taste, and it's I don't know, and I've got a feeling that some of the direction they're taking this in will be in a way, down that path. They may not have the survivability stuff and things like that, but some of the open-ended areas, the more open-worldy stance, might mean that you have to tackle it in a sort of similar way. And I'm not sure I want that from a Metal Gear game. I quite liked the sort of smaller, challengey areas of the first game. Where everything is kind of. And even MGS4 kind of does that to an extent.
What the kind
areas,
of smaller areas?
Areas are quite contained, and it's about you trying to just get through it or take everyone out. And
because this one's set in the 80s, right? Isn't it? I think.
I think so.
Because you're still playing as Big Boss, right? Like in 3. You're not playing as Solid Snake. Well, whatever his name is. That's right. They're different characters, right? I get confused by Metal Gear. Yeah. So you play as Snake, but he's not the Snake from Metal Gear Solid.
No, he just has the same code name.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway.
Because everyone's a Snake. Yeah.
I did see something that I've just remembered that you might know about, Rob. Is there like a dashboard update?
There was, yeah. The October update came out.
So what's new?
So I guess one of the biggest things for people without Kinect that Snap has become easier to use.
Okay.
So by double tapping the X button, the Xbox logo on your controller, you now get what's called Snap Center, which is it's like a radial menu, but with only 4 points.
Okay.
Which gives you a few options, so you can either go back to your game, or you can snap, unsnap an app, and the other two options are your two most recently snapped apps. If you're using a party, for instance, and you're doing that stuff, chances are you would have had the party app snapped at some point, or the Friends app snapped. So if you've used them recently, you can just jump back to them real fast. So for people that don't have a Connect that they can shout at what app they want to actually appear there, that's a much faster way of handling it.
Right. Yeah.
And it's actually probably quicker than shouting at your Connect, to be honest. So, in general, an improvement.
Cool.
And they've also, when you bring that up and you press X, that's also the only way to do the record that functionality.
Okay.
Which didn't exist before if you didn't have Connect. So that's finally there.
So a whole bunch of stuff to allow their new SKU of not having a Connect to work better.
Yeah, to basically work. I always found that the Xbox record that shortcut to be problematic anyway. Like, it didn't seem to work half the time.
Right.
So this route now seems... something about that phrase it just didn't seem to get.
Didn't pick that one up very well.
Yeah. At least not from my dulcet tones. But
so, do we know how well the connectless SKU is selling compared to the full-blown one? Does it sell better?
I got no idea. No, I haven't seen any figures.
That'd be interesting.
I'd imagine it is. I'd imagine it's doing pretty well.
Yeah.
Mainly because Microsoft... I think they're going to phase out the bundle.
Right. So you have to buy it separately.
Yeah, from all the language they've been putting out, it's because the Connect is soon to become available separately. Because you still can't do that. You still can't buy the Connect right now, I think, as a separate entity. But all the language that they've been saying seems to be that they're not talking about bundled products with Connect anymore. All the bundles they've been talking about don't have it. So the way they're gunning for it, I think Connect is just going to go the same way as the 360, and that it's just going to be an extra.
So if you buy
which I think is a shame,
Advanced Warfare bundle, then you don't get a Connect. Is that the current situation?
I don't think so. Because you're spending the extra money on the COD bundle for the terabyte hard drive.
Game. Oh, right. Okay.
That's why that bundle's so expensive, because the console's different.
No, I didn't know that. Why would you need that for all the maps and shit that you need to download for Call of Duty?
Even so, a terabyte's more than that. I've not reached 40% usage on my box yet. I'm at 30 something.
Yeah.
Admittedly, I haven't been going super all out on it, but
I guess in 5 years
storage hasn't been a crazy problem.
What the hell? This is ridiculous. 1 terabyte is tiny.
Yeah, probably like how it was when the 360 came out, and it's 20 gigs is fine, isn't it? And it's we're not loading games onto it, and then live arcade games got big. It's oh yeah, I can't do this anymore.
Still got this ludicrous situation with the iPhone where they have tons of stock of the 16. Oh, sorry, is that right? Yeah, the 16 gig version of the iPhone 6, because no one in their right mind would buy a 16 gig version.
Yeah.
And then the next version up is 64, and that one is completely out of stock. It's fucking annoying.
That is the one problem I think I'd have with the phone I've got now, because it was only available in the 16 gig version.
Yeah. Well, my iPhone...
It's not that I load it up with many apps and stuff, it's just that I want to load it up with tons of music. That's all I want. That's all I want that space for, is music.
For me, it's been because I've got a little thing, I kind of plug it in, and then I've got a little smart playlist in iTunes that will fill it up to a specified limit of gigabytes of memory, right? So
cool. That's useful.
So it's just pick up all the latest albums that I've got plus these ones that I always want up to 10 gigs and then stick it on the phone. So that works for me. But my problem now is I got into podcasts with the podcast app, and that downloads them automatically, and then it just runs out of space. And then I'm
true. I've had to. I fortunately the podcast lounge on Windows Phone is pretty good with that stuff. It'll keep the last 3 or something and auto delete the ones that are too old, and that's enough for me. I can keep going. I never get more than a couple of weeks behind on the casts that I really want to listen to.
Yeah,
and I have a couple of other shorter ones that I'll occasionally fill in if I run out of stuff. But
I just
lounge on Windows Phone is really good. actually, and it's got better since Windows 8.1 came out, and it stopped. I think I talked about this before on the cast. I had a shitty problem where my car would do something when it tried to talk to the phone would jam up audio playback or something, and I'd have to go in the app and force it to restart. That doesn't happen anymore. So
okay, they fixed it.
So everything's happy.
That's cool. I have to say the iPhone podcast app is getting better. I was really annoyed when they split it out from the music.
It was so when they first split it out. Well, that first version was okay, but then they changed it, didn't they? At some point, and it became garbage, really bad.
Yeah, they fucked it up quite badly, but now it's improving, and it's got a bunch of options now for managing auto downloads, and like you say, you can say I only want to store the latest 3 of these or whatever and stuff. And it's getting better.
As long as it has that stuff, that's fine, because it sort of just manages itself then.
Yeah, it's a bit better than it was, so that's quite good. But yeah, so I have to jump up to 64 gig when I can find one. But I'm not really in a hurry.
No, it's just that, the Apple markup for memory is almost 100% profit.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy. I think it's bonkers that they still all do this, and that none of the manufacturers have decided to go, well, I know, why don't we just try and undercut Apple on this and, gain us a bit of market share or something like that? Surely enough time has passed for that to be a thing. Because that's how it works with all technology, isn't it? Someone at some point just goes, no, fine, we're going to be the ones to start undercutting, and they will get a sudden spike. And it's...
Yeah. But
it just hasn't happened.
Yeah. Don't know. I think it's a different pricing strategy, isn't it? That it's I think they're competing on their base price and trying to get their, the costs of their components down, right? But then
make profit on memory.
Yeah, so they all have this same pricing structure where they make loads of profit on the next model up, and they don't want to undercut on that because that it's just a way some consumers
that might be the bulk of them. That might be the bulk of their profit.
Yeah, because the thing is, some people are just I want the best, and they don't care paying over the odds for. I mean, they don't like being reminded that they're paying over the odds. So you don't explicitly say we're ripping you off here, but it just works, right? Doesn't it?
Yeah.
So if it works for Apple, it works for the others, for all the Android manufacturers and stuff.
So
I agree, it is dumb.
The other side to this is that my iPad's a 32 gig, and because of the way I use that, storage has never been a problem. Not even remotely. I don't think I've even gone over 16 gigs on it, so I would have been fine with the lower model.
Right, because you don't use music on that, or you don't download films.
No. Well, yeah, and if I'm watching video, I'm streaming it, or I would have iPlayed the odd thing, Yeah,
I think I'd be the same, definitely. I can't imagine needing much space on an iPad.
Yeah, it's not nearly the same problem. It's not maybe like I use it for photo editing, or people can use them for music stuff. The iPads are quite versatile now for some of that. But
I think my main storage concern for iPads would be games. How big is Pinball and how big is XCOM? That would be my only problem.
They would be multi-gig, but considerably smaller than their PC counterparts.
Well, XCOM's the same game, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but the visuals are much downgraded.
Right, fair enough.
They wouldn't need all that texture detail. You wouldn't need to look at it GIB so much.
But surely these days, you could. It has got quite a lot of graphics power, right? These days, with the new iPads with this ridiculous.
Yeah, maybe. But
what's it called? Mantle, right? Oh no,
yeah.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, or is it just Metal? Metal. Yeah, it might be.
Oh, Metal. I think you're right. Mantle is the AMD thing, isn't it? And Metal is the Apple thing. What is it, Zach? What do you know? The DirectX competitor from AMD.
Of course, I don't know anything about iPads or.
No, but it's like a Battlefield 4 thing. I'm thinking not of the iPad thing. I'm thinking of the AMD have some kind of DirectX replacement, right?
Well, I also wouldn't know any shit about AMD either, because fuck them.
Yeah, we're all NVIDIA here.
Right, fair enough. Yeah. Well, I'm switching to NVIDIA shortly, so for the first time in a long time. I think my previous one was AMD too, I think. Okay. So yeah, it's NVIDIA time. Because they just massively undercut AMD with awesome new cards. I think I am going to go for that 970, by the way, Rob. I think that's
a good choice. It is a good choice.
For 970. and one of those monitors, and so should be good. 1440p, I've decided.
The pounds per power ratio for a 970 is pretty good.
Yeah, so I think it's pretty good, and I could try the SLI in the future if I did go insane.
Yeah, I mean, I go into all those conversations thinking that way, like, well, if it becomes a problem, maybe I'll just SLI it. But then also, by the time I'm thinking about it, then it's just like, well, I might as well just get another new card.
Might as well replace it. Yeah, exactly. Well, we'll see how it goes, but I think that's my current plan because I got my laptop now. I don't know if I mentioned, but I need to plug that into a decent screen because I got my MacBook Pro from work. And if you open that on my desk next to my 1080p panel, it's like, holy shit, this screen I use every day is just total crap. Complete garbage. Like just looking at them side by side, it's just ludicrous how good the quality is on the MacBook display. It's like your iPad or whatever, I suppose.
Was it Apple announced their new iMacs with Retina screens, and it's like $2,500 in dollars or something.
Yeah, but that's a 5K display. That thing's going to look insanely good. I mean, I was really happy with the 1440p 27-inch iMac that I was using at work. That was great. But I mean, 5K. I mean, it'll be the equivalent of the Retina. Well, they call it Retina, right? So they'll scale everything just like they do on the Retina display. So the UI elements won't be incredibly tiny. They'll be blown up to twice their pixel size so that you can actually use them. But then the advantage is that, I mean, they go on about images and stuff, but the big advantage really for normal use and stuff is it's the fonts.
Yeah, text readability is a big deal.
Yeah, because you no longer have to do so much of that sub-pixel aliasing just to make it readable.
Well, I mean, they still will, won't they?
Yeah, they still will. But you've got so many pixels available that you can actually render the curves in the font so that they're as good as print, which I guess is the point of Retina, isn't it?
Yeah, that always was the point. Yeah.
But I mean, that display is going to be epic. But it'd be hopeless for gaming because you're never going to be, unless you downscale everything by more than half, just that your graphics card can run it.
Because I was thinking this to myself the other day when we were playing Team Fortress. Every now and then because my system, pretty much everyone's systems should be able to run Team Fortress so well now that I was having a bit of a problem with it at one point where for some reason it was micro stuttering, so I rebooted it and stuff, and then it was okay.
Right.
But for the most part, that game runs at 120 frames on my system, and because I've got a 120 hertz monitor, I can see all that.
Right.
So then, because I'm paying attention because of the problem, I sort of started looking at it and go, you know what? If it wasn't for the anti-aliasing not being much cop, I don't necessarily see why going above 1080 would be a big deal. I mean, I know it is, but at that moment, while I'm looking at it, it's just like the pixelation isn't a problem. It's the aliasing caused by it not being able to, anti-alias the differences in a curved surface as you move around. Yeah. It's like when it's still, it's fine. As you're moving, it's those differences between the stills that make it noticeable. Kind of like the weird. Well, the classic that I always remember is in Ocarina of Time when you're running across the Hyrule field, and sort of in the distance, the field looks kind of nuts.
Yeah,
but in a way, kind of cool because it makes it seem more detailed than it is.
Because there aren't actually that many. The ground does undulate, doesn't it? But there aren't actually that many polygons going on. So, where they join, it looks kind of weird. Yeah,
but it's just more the way that the Ocarina handled texture filtering and stuff. So it's sort of the actual floor texture aliased real badly, and looked kind of dancing, which kind of cool because it looked like a bit more like grass, I suppose. Yeah, it actually worked to its advantage. But yeah, so that got me thinking that these new we I don't know if we mentioned it on the cast last time, but the 9 series NVIDIA cards can super sample.
Yeah.
So if you super sampled how Guild Wars can, where it's an option just built into Guild Wars where you can just double the resolution that it's rendering, and it will alias that down, and that looks real nice. So I wondered if you just super sampled something like TF to 4K or something and displayed it on a 1080 screen.
Yeah, that would look amazing.
Just how good is that going to be? Yeah, I would like to see that in action.
I think it would look super cool. I mean, especially if you put it on if you put it on a TV or something, if say it was like and you were playing something with a controller, I think that'd be especially good because when you're right up against a 1080p, you can probably tell more than if it's a big 1080p TV that's
you're probably right. Well, I don't know because like when I have got some stuff that does run at 1080, like Forza 5 runs at 1080, right? But that has terrible anti-aliasing, so it's super noticeable. Right. But I'm not sure I've ever played a game on my TV that runs at 1080, and I've not seen the pixels. If you see what I mean, it's never felt that smooth, and that may be because console anti-aliasing just isn't as good as PC anti-aliasing, or maybe my TV is garbage in some way, and that it's not 1-to-1 pixel mapping. Although I've got it set so it's supposed to,
right.
But it never seems as smooth on my TV as it does running through a PC
on your monitor.
There's something about it, and that may be, as I say, I don't know where that weak link is, whether it's console or card or TV or monitor, whatever. I don't know where the weak link is, but it just never looks quite as good. I don't think. Maybe at some point I'll just have to attach my XBONE to my 1080 monitor and see how it runs, see what it looks like. At least it's not those EGX demo machines. Fuck that shit.
Yeah, that was quite screwed up. So what's the plan in terms of? Let's say I got all upgraded tomorrow. Like, what is it? This year, it's like I want to play Shadow of Mordor. Probably that sounds quite cool.
Yeah.
I know it's not your thing, but I probably will play Alien Isolation on PC. I expect.
Yeah, that'd be a good choice.
Assassin's Creed, I think that's coming out on PC.
I'd be surprised. Ubisoft have been pretty good over the last couple of years of doing parity release on PC.
And I haven't played Assassin's Creed for quite a few leaps now, but this one does look pretty cool. I mean, the story looks dumb, and I agree with Zach that I think it's weird how they all seem to have English accents for no reason in Paris. Like, why did they give them stupid French accents? Like, they gave the Italians stupid Italian accents, didn't they?
Ubisoft are French.
Exactly. It's so dumb. So I don't understand that. But otherwise, like, the crowd stuff and, like, the city looks really good. And I like the controlled descent idea. Do you know about that?
Oh, yes. No. Yeah, I've seen that. That's kind of this way. They've just made it so you can sort of parkour down buildings.
Yeah, exactly. As well as up. Yeah, which is obviously cool, right?
Yeah, well, it stops you from jumping off it accidentally.
Because it used to be you were fucked unless you found a haystack, pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, so they kind of fixed that, so that's cool. So I think it looks like kind of good. I mean, it might not be great, but I mean, I like Paris anyway. So, and I like the French Revolution as it's an interesting period of history where people went totally bonkers, pretty much.
Yeah. I've kind of been thinking I should go back to like actually get around to playing Assassin's Creed 3, but like I've sort of been spinning my wheels a bit because that's not going to be helpful to any of our Game of the Year discussions. So it's like if I started that
nothing helpful is going to happen to our Game of the Year discussions. We're going to play like one more game that comes out this year each, and that'll be it.
I don't know. I'm probably. I reckon I could fit 2 or 3 more.
So that's 3 games. Any other? Oh, and of course Elite, but I won't have time to review that for. Because that'll probably come out at the last possible moment, probably after Christmas or something.
Anyway. I would not be surprised if that gets delayed.
Yeah, I'm going to play the shit out of that, though. That looks amazing.
There's a new game coming from the guy who made Space Game, which he said is Space Game in 3D, except not Space Game in 3D. It looks more like... It's block based, so it looks kind of like Minecraft because it's made of fucking blocks, and everything that's made of blocks looks like Minecraft.
Yeah.
But then, like, you're having conveyor belts and robotic assembler arms and stuff. It's not not on the molecular level any longer.
Yeah, that could be interesting.
That sounds cool.
Could be pretty awesome.
What are you looking forward to, Zeg, on for this year?
Civ?
I'm not really that hyped about Civ. I mean, that comes out next week, so we'll talk about that next podcast. So,
is anyone ever hyped about Civ?
I don't know.
The thing is hype not the word?
Some people are pretty hyped about Civ. Okay. I mean, Civ 5 was quite a different one, really.
Civ 5 is great, though.
Are you going to play it? Like
this one doesn't look that different.
No. Are you thinking of getting it then?
Of course. It's Space Civ. Why would you not?
So you are hyped for it.
Not
Give
really.
me that. You're like, I'm going to buy it.
I know that
it.
it's just going to be. I know that it's just going to be like a Civ 5 mod.
Yeah.
There hasn't been as much on the. Has there been as much on the Civ 5 modding scene? Because I remember you showing me some of the Civ 4 modding stuff.
Well, some of the Civ 4 modding stuff was built in with the game. They weren't even mods. They were just like, here's some mods that we made while we were.
Yeah, because some of them were quite dramatically different. Weren't they?
Like the space one and the weird squad-based tactics one.
Yeah, those were kind of neat ideas.
Yeah,
they were doing XCOM-y type stuff before XCOM got revitalized. Kind of neat.
I didn't really look at that much at Civ 5's modding.
No, all I ever see in the workshop stream is like, oh, hey, we added a new race based on Gabe Newell.
Yeah, there's a bunch of like easy edits, races and maps.
Because I guess that's the easiest thing to make in the workshop, so people give it a go.
Well, yeah. But it's just like, I don't know. The main thing that's going to happen next week is I decided ages ago that this was going to be what I was going to do before the new Civ came out. I was just going to have a week where I attempted to stream as much as possible of Alpha Centauri to be like, this is the problem with Civ in space game.
All right.
Let's see how it compares when the new one comes out.
If you can
make a video, yeah, come on.
Yeah.
I want to see some of that.
It, so that'll be fine.
Yeah, but if you can record it down, then I can link to it properly, because, Twitch not saving shit
Well, I'll
anymore.
always have them stream recordings locally anyway.
Yeah, should that
I have literally all the streams I've ever done, which is surprisingly not that big a file. I thought, when I was trying to save disk space, I was like, man, that's got to be gigantic. But it's only like 30 gigs.
Well, yeah,
all the streams that I've ever done, because I'm streaming in such shitty quality to cope with my shitty internet.
Yeah, that's exactly it. The quality you have to be producing for, in order to stream to Twitch. For most people, just it's not what I'd call not broadcast quality by any means, but it's good enough. Yeah, you should totally just post some of that shit to Happy Salad, like the YouTube channel.
I'll have to make a different playlist for that.
Yeah, totally.
Weird stream uploads.
Yeah, that's fine.
Right, it's time for what you've been playing. Oh, yeah.
Is it?
I don't know, there's a bit more news.
What's that?
I got a bit more news. Like, games have started coming out. We might as well talk about the reception of them.
Is that news, though? I don't know if that... We're not sure if that qualifies, talking about what other people review scores... what are we talking about? Bayonetta is a 10 out of 10, apparently, right?
Yep, Bayonetta 2 is apparently the best character action game ever made.
Why haven't you bought it then?
I should. I really
bought the one with the Wii U.
Get hyped.
I really should. I've played the demo.
Well, okay.
And I didn't know what the fuck was going on.
That's Bayonetta, man. Yeah.
It's insane, but the spectacle is amazing.
I really liked the first game. I played that quite a bit, actually. Back then.
But this is part of the problem. I would need there is a problem with me getting Bayonetta in the way that I wanted to. Because I would obviously want to get the special edition version of it, which comes with the download of Bayonetta 1.
Yeah.
Because I never played that properly, so I would want to play through that before I tackle 2.
Well, you don't have to, but yeah.
You don't have to, no, but I would really want to see the setup, why everything is how it is, that kind of thing.
Well, don't expect the story to make sense.
No, I've also heard that much as well, but it's not so great at actually telling the story. But
it's one of those games that is just so Japanese it blows your mind, like the old Devil May Cry or whatever. Or I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, it's like the certain animes do that where they're just a bit beyond, Cowboy Bebop is perfectly normal. It's Western. It's there's Japaneseness about
it's a Japanese skewed version of Western.
But it doesn't hurt your brain going into it. Whereas some stuff is just so mental and out there and Bayonetta, I had the same effect. And the funny thing was, it wasn't just the story and characters and stuff that were what the fuck is this shit, but it was actually the gameplay was Really Japanese. I can't think of any other way to describe it. It's very
Japanese gameplay is for action games is all about insane precision.
Yeah,
in general, isn't it? It's and the combos, what I haven't quite wrapped my head around yet in the brief moments I've had with 1 and 2, is the combo system seems there's a lot there. It's admittedly it's all just how to chain It's not like the move list is essentially massive, not like a sort of Soul Calibur style, but it's like the combo thing is like how you can chain stuff together in interesting ways, and most of it is just slight differences in how you press punch and kick. And then you've somehow got to factor in holding the buttons at certain points to delay attacks in order to get your guns to fire.
Yeah.
And then there's the witch time mechanic and how you use that properly, which I'm not sure I'm using properly in my time of it, because it seems to not last like no time at all. And yet some shots I've seen of it where, like, if you do it properly or something, witch time can last quite a long time. And it's so I don't understand what I'm doing there, and that's my fear, is that I'm going to go into it playing it and like not really understand what I'm doing for a considerable amount of time.
That's what happened to me with the first game. Was like I spent ages just in quite an early tutorial area where they just drop you in a graveyard with infinite spawning enemies, and the music is just playing "Fly Me to the Moon" for some reason. I think I just spent ages. I think it was that. Anyway, it was some dumb song. Like trying to learn the combo system.
Because Bayonetta 2 the demo forces you to do this little tutorial bit, and it's got this like up tempo. I don't know if you can really call it jazz, but it's kind of funky but real fast. Sort of vocal track playing while you're learning all these combo mechanics. It's insane. Just doing that is kind of nuts, and it's a cool game. I kind of just like for the visual spectrum. Okay. The demo is apparently the prologue to the game, right? And during that 20 minutes or so of gameplay, you are fighting on the back of a jet fighter, followed by fighting on the back of a train as the bridge collapses behind you while a giant walking monstrosity tries to crush you.
Yep.
Followed by you can fly and you're facing a dragon coming out of a skyscraper. And all of that happens in 20 minutes.
Right.
Well, that depends on how is the prologue laid out? Is it just like
it's 3 levels just in a
but is it a prologue like these happened at different times, or are they a contiguous actual 3 things that happen in a row?
Apparently, that is like continuous. Like because the prologue is how it is in the prologue that you play in the demo is the prologue that you play in the full game.
Oh, yeah,
they're identical, but apparently they all, that this whole sequence is one sequence, and it's insane, but it looks and feels amazing. And although I'll admit the control during the flying section is somewhat baffling. It's like it sort of works, but because of the scales of the thing you're dealing with, you're just like, how on earth did I dodge that in any kind of like? Well, when is the timing I need to dodge? That stuff seems to get tricky at the big scale stuff, but. Because you don't really know. But, man, that game seems nuts. And I guess if I was to, like, logistically, if I'm going to play through Bayonetta 1, am I going to have time to play through Bayonetta 2 in terms of considering it in discussions?
I'd probably just play 2. I wouldn't worry
given that COD and Sunset Overdrive are going to be coming out, and I'm quite interested in getting those.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to worry about whether or not you're going to be able to have enough time to play everything. It's already too late.
Smash
You're
Bros.
done.
Well, no, it's not. Yeah, it's already too late because of the fucking schedule this year is insane. Like, everything this year has been, like, loaded into October, November, December. Like, everything. It's not, like... it feels like previous... I know they, like, always top-load games to be holiday season or whatever, but this year just feels particularly crazy.
It's because we've lacked the big March game or something like Mass Effect. You know how that used to come out in like...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, last year we had Bioshock.
I don't think there's actually that many games coming out this year. It's just that there hasn't been any in the first half. Yeah. So the ones that are in the back half seem like more.
Yeah. I mean, last year we had Bioshock, didn't we? And like that filled the gap somewhat. And I think there have been some of the strategy games, I think, like to go for a summer release, I want to say. Like, I think Civ traditionally releases sort of mid-year. Except maybe not this one, which is obviously coming out in fucking October. But just everything is coming out, so we're not going to get it done, and it's really annoying. Like, because the other thing I was thinking about, if I don't get Bayonetta, maybe I was thinking of picking up Shovel Knight as the other potentially big game of the year that we should pay attention to, but that can fill the gap before COD comes out, essentially. Also, I'm supposed to be saving for like a fucking wedding, and it's like I'm trying desperately not to buy things, but I've got that itch now because it's been so long.
It is time.
Playing tons of games though. Relatively speaking, you've been getting through old stack.
I have been getting through my old stack, which has been nice. Don't get me wrong, but it's like I'm just itching to do something new and exciting. And weirdly, I consider Halo new and exciting, which is wrong. It's so wrong.
Well, that's one thing that's going to take up our whole
fair, that looks
time
like
if
a
we
good
let
package.
It's going to be me and you playing through all 4 of those games.
Although Microsoft have said that the Halo 2 campaign isn't going to be the campaign of Halo 2 isn't going to be running 1080. Like that part, Halo 2 multiplayer apparently runs 1080 just fine. Halo 2 campaign will be running 720.
It's because they added too much shit to it.
Yep, look up it. Well, I mean, don't know. Yeah, but they've at least come out and said it. I suppose that's being honest. But
why is it 720/60?
Oh no, sorry. Maybe it's not 720. Maybe it's not. Sorry, I'm misremembering it. I think it's still 1080 vertically, but they've had to horizontally compress.
Right.
Or something, so it's like 1300 by 1080 or something. So it's still pretty good. Probably unnoticeably pretty good. Sorry, I may be misremembering all of that. Fuck it.
It looks good. I saw a video of it the other day, and it's like, well, this looks like quite a cool package, to be honest. I mean, I mean, they put a lot of effort into it. I mean, obviously, you've got that slight, you'd kind of want everything to be the same stance. You'd kind of want to wait and have Halo 3 be bootstrapped up, but I mean, then they've got to release it, so
yeah.
And Halo 3 probably looks fine. It's just going to be the weird one because it won't look as good as any of the others.
Well, yeah, true. Halo 4 will probably carry itself just fine, but 3 will probably be a bit of a harder one to stomach. Although, according to Giant Bomb, Halo 3 is the best in the series, which I'm not sure about.
No. Well, what do you... I think Halo 1 is probably... Oh, I like Reach, but Halo 1, I think, is the best Master Chief game, personally.
Yeah, the more I've thought about it, the more I'm really undecided. I think the problem is that maybe I'm the target audience for that shitty playlist feature, because I like bits from all of them.
Oh, well, in multiplayer, I'd say probably 2 is the best, right?
Oh, yeah, easily.
Yeah, so that's easy.
There was a whole bunch of ass in Halo 1.
Yeah.
In terms of campaign levels.
There's a lot of backtracking and stuff in Halo 1, but, in terms of the impact it had at the time, we talked about this a million times before.
Yeah. I think it's a much better campaign than Halo 2's, personally. I think it even looks better than Halo 2. I think they fucked everything up in Halo 2 in terms of like we've talked about this a million times before.
Yeah. We'll talk about it properly when we actually play the thing.
Yeah. Anyway, never mind. Let's
so other things that came out: Alien Isolation. Yeah. That seems to have got mostly positive.
I've seen Ho playing quite a bit of that. Well, not quite a bit, but basically, I went over and watched her play pretty much the same whole part that I saw in the Giant Bomb Quick Look, if you've seen that, except that Ho was doing it more cautiously and like not as fucking stupidly as Brad, running around getting impaled constantly like an idiot. She managed to avoid all of the working Joes, but got quite mullered by the alien. So, but yeah, it's cool. I like it. I think I would probably play it.
Yeah, as we said at EGX, I can't. But that aesthetic is so dead on correct.
Yeah.
So it seems right. But that game is obviously just going to wind me up no end. So I'm going to avoid it. But for people that like it, I can't blame you. It
looks real nice on the Xbox. Oh, sorry, it was on the PS4 she's playing it, but it looks real nice. And although for some reason, I mean, I noticed that they talked about it actually in the Eurogamer, or what's it called, the Digital Foundry look at it. Like for some reason, all the like pre-rendered with the game engine cutscenes, they're super jerky, and it's because they're loading in the background or something. But I don't know why they let it ship like that, because it's like every time a cutscene, the game runs really well, and then when it goes to a cutscene, it looks crap.
Yeah, that's a bit funny.
It's really
because certain games do it really well, like the Uncharted series, and Naughty Dog games in general use a video cutscene.
Yeah,
that's been rendered in engine, but still a video cutscene to hide a loading pause.
Yeah, I think that's cool when you do it right. You don't even notice. But sometimes, like in the Batman games, they did that. But like there was something about the way it was lit, or something about the artifacts on the video compression that just made it look really weird, because it was clearly the exact same engine game going on, but it just looked different.
It's pretty annoyingly common. Like, especially as you say, the video artifacting thing, because that's super noticeable.
Yeah.
It's on some, anyway, certain effects, especially if it's a dark area. Which I imagine a lot of Alien is. Like,
and Batman was mostly dark too.
Yeah, it just becomes really obvious. Oh man, yeah, Batman on my machine was, on my PC, when I played it through on the PC, some of the cutscene stuff was like, that was real bad.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah. So, yeah, that guy. The other, I suppose, big release was Drive Club.
Right.
Which happened, and that game, from what I've been reading about it, seems pretty polarizing. As in, some people really get into the car club idea and start, doing the challenging things. And for those people, that game is pretty amazing. But the other side is that, people that I guess have just come off of playing Forza Horizon go into that and go, well, this is rubbish. Because the handling doesn't feel particularly realistic and the level of content just isn't what's in Forza. Although they have said that they'll be having like a regular patch routine. So like the game has shipped without most of its content, apparently, and that all of it will be coming in subsequent patches. Especially the weird choice to only really include European cars in the retail version, and that Japanese and American cars are going to start filtering in later. It's like, stuff like that is weird. And weather effects, that stuff will come later. It's like they were just desperate to get it out the door before it was finished.
Well, that's like how they haven't managed to get out the PS Plus version either because of the server issues. It's just like another thing they rushed.
Yeah, that didn't work. Well, apparently that affects the full game as well.
Well, yeah, it affects the full game, but that's why they're not releasing the PS Plus version, because they don't want any more server load.
Yeah. So, yeah, Drive Club seems a bit of a hot mess.
I never had much confidence in Drive Club.
No, neither did I. But I mean, there are certain clips of it that I've seen, like when the sun is like sort of, I don't know, early morning sort of shots of that game where the lighting looks incredible. Like there are moments of that visual presentation where they have got it so good. Like giving Forza Horizon a run for its money, and that's a damn good looking game.
That's true.
So on that respect, like there's some stuff they're doing there that is really impressive, but it seems that it's wrapped in a questionable game.
Right, I think we better talk about games we have played.
Yep. Sorry, no
Bravalo.
I'd better run through that because their games were likely not to play, I suppose, apart from Alien.
Probably not. So Zeg, you haven't been speaking. It's time to speak.
Standard procedure.
Begin. What have you been playing?
I haven't really played anything new, I guess, this whole 2 weeks. I played a ton more for Theatrhythm because I finally
Why can't you put that down?
Well, because there's things to do in it. There's goals to achieve. And also the music is good because it's Final Fantasy music, which is fine.
Yeah.
And, well, apart from like the random selection where it's like whenever it generates a new random map or whatever, why do I keep hearing these same fucking songs? It's like some of the songs I've played fucking 15 times and then some of them I've only played twice. It's like, it seems a bit weirdly... I mean, it's just random, so, it seems a bit weird, but of course it's not, it's just random.
Yeah, but even so, the skew seems a bit much, is what you're saying.
Yeah. But yeah, so I've still been grinding that out, and it's like, I finally leveled everyone up to 99, and then proceeded to start on the leveling one team up over and over again. Although there were several moments of discovery working through that process where I gradually got, there was things that I thought were going to work one way and then didn't, and then I was like, oh, god damn it, that just makes it slightly more annoying. So when you're leveling up your team, as I got more and more efficient at it, I discovered better ways to configure your battle team and your map team to get better amounts of experience out of it. I discovered that there's actually a limit on how much experience you can get per character in one song. So even though it's theoretically possible to generate more experience, you can't.
Oh, interesting.
So, like, one of the particularly good battle songs I did, I got about 17,000 experience without any boosts, split between 4 people. But, like, the actual limit of experience you can get per person is 9,999. So if I'd used the 6 times experience booster on that fight where I got 17,000 experience, I would have wasted most of it because you can't get more than 38,000 experience in total.
Yeah, a good third of it would go down the toilet.
So it's like, that kind of sucks.
Oh, well, more than a third of it. What, you can only get...
38,990.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I'm miles off, yeah. Like half of it.
So I would have only really needed to use the experience doubler, and that would have been pretty much exactly as much as I could have possibly got. So it's like, that kind of sucks. Because I could have leveled up well quicker. But no, there's a hard limit on how much experience you can get.
Weird.
Kind of poop.
There are some decisions on that front where they, I don't know, is it just that they put some arbitrary variable cap somewhere, and like,
maybe
would probably without thinking about it?
Like, this is only a 4-digit number per character. I don't know, it's kind of weird. So that kind of sucked. And then I also found out some other things, like, for example, you can't stack the experience multiplier and the thing that makes one character take all the experience.
Ah, right. Okay.
So you can't double boost one character.
Sure.
Which kind of sucks. And then,
does it just not let you, or does it let you, but then you don't
we can turn them both on, but it doesn't work. It just, only the one that absorbs all the experience actually takes effect. Yeah.
That's kind of annoying, because that means you waste it, right?
Well, yeah. Well, sort of.
Game should tell you that.
It's not an item, though. I mean,
okay.
It's a skill.
It's just something that's on.
Yeah, it's just another skill that you can turn on.
Oh, that's not so bad.
Per character. But yeah, so I fucking ground that out and unlocked Sephiroth and I leveled everyone up.
I gotta admit, I have been having that. This comes up, I think, with all 3 of us occasionally, where we have that itch to play a rhythm game.
Right.
Like, and that's been coming to me of late, partly because, and maybe we're jumping around a bit here.
Yeah.
I played the Fantasia demo.
Right.
Which came out on XBONE. The game's not out until the end of October, naturally, because everything fucking comes out that week.
Yep.
But, damn, that almost got me right back in. It's basically like if Rock Band and Dance Central had an orchestral baby. It's it's got the structure of Rock Band in terms of how everything, and Guitar Hero in terms of how everything is laid out. But you're gesturing, and it has some of the Dance Central menu stuff, like slap menus and stuff. And it's cool. That's all I can really say. It's more. I was more taken with it, I think, than I expected, because we've known for a good couple years now, probably, everything that game does.
Yeah. And
yet it's still cool when you finally play it. Like when you're mixing tracks together on the fly, creating something really fucking weird. The only thing I think that's perhaps bad with it is it will break away occasionally into you remember how in Dance Central it would occasionally go, okay, now dance like a fucking lunatic, and we'll video it.
Section.
This doesn't do that in the same way. It will break away to, okay, here's an instrument, play with it for a while. And when you're happy with what you've created, drop your arms and we'll record that and mix it into the song. Which is cool in theory, except it totally ruins the flow of what you're doing. Like the rhythm suddenly drops and you're suddenly playing with this la 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 la. The music's still going on in the background and it's looping, but you're messing around with this instrument and you've just got to stop for a while it suddenly realizes, oh, you want to record that. It's I think it would have been better if they just sort of go, here's an instrument, go nuts, and there's some fixed time period that you have to do stuff.
Yeah, but then you could make a pile of shit. Just continue.
Well, all it is they do some stuff with rhythm and stuff to make sure you're making something that sort of fits.
Right.
So when a drum machine comes up, think that the bits are already playing, but you can't hear them unless you hover your cursor over them, for instance. So they're all already in time and to a pattern. The cooler ones are the synth things where they've come up with a neat arpeggio or something that will only change note at a certain time. So you could say, I want it to go higher here and I want it to go lower there, and it'll adjust it accordingly. But I just don't want to have to keep doing that until I'm happy with it and then stop and then play it, and then carry on and have that only be in the next like verse or so. It seems like a real flow killer. But that aside, that's a fun goddamn game.
Well, good. Another thing for you to not buy.
Yep. Well, it's like the digital version comes out, and it's like for your normal price of £45, which seems to be the regular now for next gen game releases. The digital version does at least come with a couple of expansion packs or something. So, top tip: if you're about to get Fantasia, get the digital version.
In Theatrhythm, they release another set of DLC, and there's still no fucking Final Fantasy Tactics Advanced Music. What are they doing?
No.
It's just like they've forgotten about those 2 games that they made.
Yeah.
I was trying to remember whether it was like a sub-team of Square or whatever, because I can't remember what...
I'm sure it must. They must have a several teams,
well, yeah,
right?
presumably, but I don't know what like offshoot team it was that did the GBA game and then the DS game.
Is it because do they consider them just like weird spin-offs because they're like similar to the original Tactics but not quite?
Yeah, but they're basically sort of set in the Final Fantasy XII universe. It's like they reuse a lot of the ideas, so it's not like they're some totally weird thing that they've distanced themselves from or anything.
Oh, but presumably Tactics introduced that world first.
No, right? Well, sort of.
The PS1 version of Tactics, right?
Sort of, but not really, because it's like, I think it's called the same and it has some of the same things, but like there's a lot more similarity between Advance and 12 because they have like the same races.
More of the races exist, okay. Yeah.
And like the judges and all that crap.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the judge mechanic. Judge mechanic was cool.
It was bad. It was impossibly difficult in the first game and almost totally irrelevant in the second game.
I like the idea of it more than I think I like the execution, but
yeah, there's that.
Because didn't you used to just jip that or something? It's like, oh, I've got a shit scenario. Like, can I just come back out and go back into it and I'll give you different rules or something?
You just have to advance the clock. You just had to like do something else for a day, like walk backwards and forwards on the map and get different rules.
Yeah, that was it.
And then in the second game, it didn't work in quite the same way. It was always irrelevant.
So did they not take music from the original Tactics then?
Yeah, they got like 2 or 3 tracks from that.
No, I meant in the advanced games.
No, I don't think so. I mean, obviously, as I discovered from the 12 music, there's some of that that gets reused from Tactics Advanced. So it's not like they don't even like that music or something. Can't just fucking put it in the game.
Is this another one of those like strategic series, like Advance Wars or something, that for some reason died an early death? Do you reckon?
Maybe. I mean, they probably could make another one. More people liked the original Tactics than probably the Advanced and DS ones.
Yeah, because War of the Lions got was the re-release, wasn't it? It got a proper PSP re-release, and I think you can get that on iPad now.
But I mean, it's totally an awesome system that they made for tile-based tactical game.
It was a pretty cool game. I've never actually played it, but watching you play it was it's kind of interesting, seeing how all the mechanics fit together. It's a real well thought out game.
Although maybe in the original it was like they went a bit overboard.
The fucking Zodiac system.
Yeah, the goddamn Zodiac. That's like, it's basically a rock paper scissors system, except like with 13 things.
Yeah, and it's on top of 2 other rock paper scissors systems, right?
Yeah, essentially. It's just like the Zodiac system would be fine. They could reuse that in like a modern game. They just have to make it have like tooltips and stuff. That's why it doesn't work in the original, because it's like when you're looking at a unit in the original Tactics, it's like they have their little box with their name and their information, and then like there's their Zodiac sign. It's like, well, now I have to bring up my piece of paper that's got the whole fucking Zodiac chart drawn on it to work out which one they're weak to or whatever. It's just like if it had some kind of tooltip that just told you, then that would probably be fine.
Or a shortcut to just bring up the chart or something.
Yeah.
Simple things.
So yeah, I feel like
maybe that's not so bad on iPad because you could just multitask away.
Yeah, maybe have a back end there. So yeah, I've played like plenty of Theatrhythm and got more and more efficient, and ended up not even using my A team as it turned out. Because once I leveled everyone up to 99, so I could look at what their like level 99 stats were and what all their skills unlocked were. I was like, now I can maybe form an actual good, better team by selecting people who have specific skills that don't overlap. So we did that and made a team and then leveled them up a few more times. And then also, I mean, the weird thing about it was that I sort of accidentally made another team that seems like super effective for battle, but like completely useless for like the field stages because they don't have any agility skills or whatever.
Right.
But I was trying to work out like whether it's better to just be really awesome at the battles and like forget the field stages, or to be really awesome at the field stages and forget the battle stages, or some like average at both. Because like I sort of didn't realize for a long time when I was playing it, like you do get a lot of experience from the field stages. Because it's based on how far you travel. So if you have a guy with really high agility and the field stage skills, you can just go... Because then it's not reliant on... Because in the fighting stages, because of the... Like, it will send in random enemies. I mean, if you're going through the same map, the set of enemies will be the same. But, like, sometimes you'll just get certain enemies that have, like, really high defense, because that's just the type of enemy they are, and they take ages to kill. And then because the experience you get is based on how many enemies you kill, you don't get as much experience, but maybe those ones with high defense give you more experience. So it's kind of hard to tell whether it's just worth... So I think like the field stages probably give you more consistent experience, but maybe not potentially as much. Because if you really get a team that can just blow through the enemies in the fight stage, you can just loop it multiple times, kill them all several times, and get tons of experience.
So you're more likely to hit an average on the field, whereas with the battles, you've got much more variance.
Yeah, you've got potential to get a lot higher. Like that battle stage where I got 17,000 experience without any boosts, and like I can, with the good field running, you can probably get a good 8,000 maybe every time. With some amount of boosting.
So after all this epic amount of grinding, do you have any top tips to regular people, like as in not you, on how they should play this game?
I don't know, maybe like...
Good question.
Oh, wait, sorry, I didn't hear that. I think I've lent on my...
You muted your mic.
Yeah, hang on.
I mean, not my headphones. Turn that back up.
Sorry, can you say something, Dad?
Yes, I can say something.
That's better, I can hear you now.
It's possible.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any... like specific things. Maybe don't neglect the field stages, it turns out. They might be good. And also,
or at least predictable.
I think it's kind of weird that it starts, I mean, it's not weird in a logical sense, but it's when you're doing the chaos maps where you're going through the maps of the songs, they have like short, medium and long ones. And obviously you start on the short ones, and then once you've cleared one, then it unlocks medium, and once you've cleared one, then it unlocks long. But I think the long ones are just inherently better because in the short, because you get a multiplier for how many days have passed in the map. So by the time you're at the last few songs of the long one, you're inherently just getting more experience.
Sure, yeah.
So there's no point in grinding tons of short ones if you can just do one long one.
Yeah, because I guess you get a longer spell of just maxing it out, right?
Yeah, you just get a longer period of more experience. Oh, and there is one more, it's maybe not a normal person tip, it's a semi-pro tip, I guess.
Semi-pro!
But there's a skill that a few characters have, but you can also get like a scroll that just lets you apply it to any character. There's this skill called Libra that lets you... There's 3 different versions of it, and it's not a straight progression for some bizarre reason. It's like, Libra 1 makes it so that when you finish a map quest... when it spawns the next map, it reveals the drop item of one of the bosses, right? Or one of the 3 drop items. Libra 2, when you finish a stage in a map, it reveals the information of the next stage, which is okay. And then Libra 3 is like Libra 1, only you get 2 drop items.
I see.
But then what I discovered is, you can stack Libra 1 and Libra 3 to reveal all 3 drop items for a boss in a short map. But then also, if you train it onto multiple characters, you can stack it multiple times across multiple characters. Because on the short map, there's only 1 boss. On the medium map, there's 2 bosses, and on the long map, there's 3. But if you have Libra 1 and Libra 3 on 3 characters, you can see all of the drops of all the bosses because it also doesn't overlap.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So that's semi-pro tip, I guess.
That seems like something, like, given all the other things you were talking about, how the things don't seem to work together, or that
it's just like sometimes they overlap and sometimes they don't. It's very weird.
They obviously thought about that one.
Yeah, for some reason. I guess because it really does kind of suck when you get a new map and you go through it and you get one of the boss drops, but then there's 2 fucking more, and because it's random, you can't guarantee you're going to reveal either of those other 2 when you play through it again. So at this point, I've just basically deleted all the maps that I hadn't done this trick for, and just said, "Fuck it, I'll keep the maps that I know what the drops are, and only keep the ones where the drops are good."
That makes sense. Yeah.
Also, because I don't care about the shards any longer, obviously, because I've unlocked everyone.
Yeah,
and that would be the only thing you'd worry about. I did find a map that was irrelevant by the time I found it, where one of the boss's drop item was a black shard instead of its reward item, so you could get it multiple times.
Be more likely, yeah.
So yeah, that's that, I guess. And then I also
How much are you going to keep going with it? Because
I know I could continue to play it. It's got daily challenges.
Oh man!
It just picks a random 5 songs and you just play them. So I'm just like,
and then presumably leaderboards.
Well, it's not exactly leaderboards. It's got like a trophy system basically, and I'm not even close to. It's like you get a trophy for. This is how much I've played it. You get a trophy for playing 100 hours,
right?
And then there's another, like, it's not really the same trophy list, but it's another trophy list that has, instead of just a trophy, it has like 5 ranks.
Right.
And 100 hours is only like the 4-star out of 5 rank.
Oh, jeez.
I'm like, wait, what? Even more than 100.
1,000 hours later.
I'm sure it won't be that bad. Probably like 120 or something.
But holy shit, 100 hours!
Yeah, I know, it's fairly ridiculous. And that's like, so 100 hours is what they consider the trophy, like, you've played the game.
Holy fuck. So, like, but it's just, that's going to make, like, the Zachary Burgess Time Played Award a bit more interesting, surely.
Not really.
Okay.
Like 100 hours isn't that much.
Fucking hell.
Or maybe for this year.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I mean, games of this year.
Yeah.
Instead of all games that I play.
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah, to segregate them.
So yeah, there was that. I didn't really play much more Prison Architect. I looked in a couple of times. I was still fucking around with it, trying to optimize systems. But the trouble is, I think it's got to the point where I want to do things that aren't actually really possible in the game. Maybe now or maybe ever. It depends on how they go with it. Like when I was trying to make segregated sections to keep different classes of prisoner in different areas, you can assign. Like, you can say, like, this shower room is only for minimum security, this shower room is only for high security or whatever, and that keeps them out of each other. But when you're doing things like the kitchens for the meals, you can't really tell your staff to stay in one or the other. So they kept doing dumb things like cooking meals in one kitchen and then carrying it all the way across the prison to the other canteen.
Ah, I see. Right.
It's like, that's not really what I wanted you to do. There was a reason why I made 2 kitchens.
Yeah, so they're sort of missing micromanagement tools.
Yeah,
guess,
to some extent. Or specific micromanagement.
Or maybe it's just something they didn't think anyone would try and do.
Well, I was trying to think of, like, maybe I need to redesign my prison where, like, the entire layout of the prison is based around the kitchen. So you just have one big kitchen and then, like, the different segments canteens spread off the main central kitchen. And then all the segments around the ends of the canteens.
They say the kitchen is the hub of the home.
Yeah.
So.
The hub of the prison. I don't know. You could probably work around it in some kind of way. So yeah, I didn't play that much, and then I also didn't play much of anything else. I briefly looked into Minecraft and Guild Wars and other things.
Hey, unsurprising news.
Yeah.
Minecraft is coming to Windows Phone.
Well, it almost already had, sort of.
Yeah.
My brother's back working on Tracy Island, I believe.
Hey.
Updates.
He keeps updating it.
Maybe we'll actually
keep
be able to
changing
record a video that works this time.
Yeah, that would be good. So stay tuned for that.
I went back into Minecraft because I realised that I still hadn't done the space thing. I'd actually made the rocket, I just hadn't gone to the moon. But then when I went back in and looked at why I hadn't gone to the moon, I realised I still had some stuff to do.
Wait, is this base Minecraft?
No.
Okay.
Of course not.
I
I actually haven't played Minecraft since the last 1 or 2 updates where there have been new stuff in base Minecraft. Not particularly interesting new stuff, I don't think. Yeah, so I went back to the space thing temporarily and collected some more resources mainly. I think I'm just about actually ready to go to the moon now. I've got all the stupid different equipment you need to create a oxygen bubble, and actually survive. Theoretically. Although,
what's this mod called?
Galacticraft,
okay.
And I'm also running that on an old version as well, because there's like a newer version of the mod even. But I don't know. I was so committed at this point, I was like, fuck it, I'm not even going to...
Oh, because would you have to restart?
Well, that's the question. I don't actually know how far I could go upgrade Galacticraft compared to the version of Minecraft that I'm running it on as well.
Right.
It's like, how far is it compatible with that version of Minecraft before I'd have to upgrade the version of Minecraft and then upgrade the mod, and then maybe my save wouldn't be compatible.
But isn't that the exact problem that, like, Multicraft or whatever is supposed to fix? Or
sort of, except not really. I mean, I could just duplicate the instance and then fuck around with it, I guess, but it's too much effort. I'd rather just fucking play it. Play as much as I can on this version, and then
there's as much crafting in modding Minecraft as there is in crafting in Minecraft.
Clearly. That's that. I don't think I played anything else, really.
Played some TF.
Well, yeah.
With me.
There was that. Always. Team Fortress.
We always fall back on that.
Yep.
It's like, well, we're not quite sure how much time we have. Let's play Team Fortress.
Yep, pretty much.
Despite my, like, occasional, we should probably finish that really long game of Civ we've been playing.
That's a commitment, playing Civ. You can't play that, well, you can play that for a short period, but then it doesn't, you don't feel, it feels weird.
You feel disappointed, don't you, if you stop.
It's like, oh, I did one turn.
Yeah.
Then we had to stop.
Well, even if it's just 1 hour, I think, like, after just 1 hour of Civ, you've pretty much just found your rhythm again.
Yeah, you've just remembered what the fuck you were doing.
Oh, man, Civ's evil. When you think of it like that, it draws you in.
I can't think of anything else I played, although I'm sure there was at least one more thing. I mean, I didn't really go into Guild Wars at all after I finished that goddamn World vs. World crap and got the rewards for it. And then I also haven't really logged into EVE. I moved some shit around. The next patch is going to be weird, supposedly.
No!
Unlimited skill queue.
Oh, yes, you told me about this.
Yep. No, I won't even have to log in ever again. I can just keep paying the money and my skills will go up. Although really, it's only convenient for me because my skills are all incredibly long at this point, so I'm very likely to forget when they end. So I can just queue up forever now.
So presumably the skill trainer doesn't happen when you're
not
running out of money? Yeah, okay.
It used to, but it doesn't any longer. They changed it at some point.
So would, like, if you were trading a long-running one and then your account run out, that long-running one doesn't carry on until it's finished, or does just everything just pause?
No, I think it just pauses now.
Okay, yeah, that seems logical.
Because it used to just carry on, which meant... I guess it was because they probably realised that they were losing tons of money.
Yeah.
When they introduced skills that take, like, 90 days, they were just like, oh, look, that guy just started it and then unsubbed for 3 months.
Yeah, these people are only logging in when their big skills are done.
Particularly for, like, the 90-day, like, Titan skills. Because it's like, if you're training to be a Titan pilot, you're not going to do much else until you can fly the Titan.
Yeah.
I guess. Or I suppose it's probably alt characters for that kind of thing. You probably weren't training your main character. Or if you were actually doing other stuff.
Speaking of Titans.
Yeah.
I've been watching Attack on Titan.
Okay.
It's pretty cool.
So what's that?
It's a new anime that seems to have gained a bit of, like, recognition, or, you know, people seem relatively aware of it. I occasionally see posts on it, you know, about the place. It's not just like, I don't know, it seems to be, you know, relatively popular, and there's like an American registered dub version or something. And it's kind of cool. It's like, it's another one of these sort of Japanese animes where they are slightly obsessed with, like, European style culture. Right. You know what I mean? But the setting is so bonkers. It's like, at some point in humanity's future, these giant fucking gormless things, like humanoid-like creatures, but massive, which they call the Titans, just basically turn up and start killing everyone. And, like, the story sets off, like, 100 years after humanity has retreated into this massive city. But obviously with, like, 3 rings of walls, like, protecting various, like, sort of levels of security and stuff. and it's like because humanity's fall meant that technology is all crap and stuff. Mm-hmm. Apart from this mysterious maneuver gear that lets them like use cables and stuff to fly, basically, and swing about all over the place. Yeah, and the story starts when the Titans decide to attack this city, and shit starts going real bad.
It was wild, didn't it? Apparently, 100 years, and they didn't notice the giant city.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And then shit starts going real bad. But it's actually kind of cool. It's pretty. It's not a happy anime. Let's put it that way. It's pretty. Yeah, people die.
When are they ever really?
But a lot of people die, and there's dismemberment and stuff. But it's kind of cool. Sort of worth the hype, I suppose.
So where have you been hearing the hype for Attack on Titan?
I don't know, like various blogs and stuff. Some gaming things have been posting about it in reference and stuff like that. It's becoming it's becoming known. Let's put it that way.
To check that one out.
Yeah, I don't know now that it's got an American dub. I don't know what the legality of getting it in the UK is, but as is always the weird grey area of getting hold of unreleased anime overseas.
I think it looks like it might be released. There's a
in which case, fuck.
As in there's a DVD release on you can buy on Amazon. So that's cool.
So I recommend. Yeah. So you're done, Jose?
I guess I just can't think of anything else that I may or may not have played. I think I mentioned last time about Trine, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yes.
That was the only other thing that I could remember. And that was more than 2 weeks ago. So next time will be the one where I'll actually have something new to say again with the Civ.
So I played a Steam...
how it's not as good as Alpha Centauri.
Steam Greenlight game.
Did you?
Yes.
And it was?
I played The Long Dark.
The what?
The Long Dark.
I know nothing of it.
It's like a survival game. So you sort of... It's pretty cool looking. Like you're this survived a plane crash or whatever, and you're just up a mountain in, I don't know, Wyoming or something, or in the Rockies or something, and it's really snowy. And basically, you've got a bunch of...
I'm thinking alive here. Okay.
Yeah. So you're alive, and it's a very hostile environment with wolves and everything, and you have meters going down of like how cold you are and how hungry you are and all of that kind of stuff. You have to survive for as long as possible, basically. It's you load it up and there is like a button for a story mode, which is like, no, this doesn't exist yet because we're in early access. Just play the sandbox mode. So you load that up and that's literally it. You get dumped down and it's like, well, you're going to freeze to death. Better get moving. And you can like pick up all kinds of, equipment and fuel and wood and stuff, and then you can find shelters and make fires and get yourself a bit more sorted, basically. But basically, you will die. It's like, go die in a wood. Like Kat bought it for me, and she's like, go die in a wood. I've died 4 times a day.
Sounds like a better working version of The Forest, basically.
Yeah, it looks really cool, and it's not finished, obviously, but it does work.
Exactly the same thing apart from in The Forest.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also, instead of walls, you've got weird monster dudes.
Right.
It's pretty foresty, actually, but it kind of has a kind of cool aesthetic to it, and it can get really like snowy and the wind can whip past and stuff, and it looks really cool. And I thought, I started down this mountain. I think you spawn in different places. I started down this mountain. I thought, I don't even know where the hell I'm going, or there's no map, obviously, because you're just a survivor, and you have to kind of gradually piece together. And I thought, well, this game could be huge. I don't know where the hell I'm going. But after a while, I realized it's not actually that big. You see the same areas again if you play it a few times, and you start to get a sense of.
So the geography's not random then? Or?
No, it's not random. It's a map, and it has certain landmarks and stuff. Like if you get down to the bottom of the kind of steep part, there's a cabin place which is really good to make your base, really, because it's got a fireplace and it's got beds and stuff, and
then you can spawn anywhere.
I think there are a few spawn points, but and the wolves are super dangerous. Like sometimes you think, like I thought there's a hydroelectric dam with the little, and there's tons of loot and stuff in there. So I went in there thinking that would be a safe place, or at least a little bit warmer. But for some reason, there's a freaking wolf living in the hydroelectric dam, and it just murderizes me every time. So now I know how I have to avoid that place unless I can find a gun or something. And I haven't managed to find it's really hard to find stuff like that. Like you don't really have you get a flare when you start, which is quite useful.
Right.
So you can use that to scare away wolves and stuff. So sometimes that's good. If the wolves have killed deer or something, you can scare away the wolf and then nick their prey and stuff, and then
good idea.
Cook it up and stuff. So yeah,
there's been a bit of a run of games of this type, hasn't there? Because this sounds a little bit similar to Sir, You Are Being Hunted.
Well, yeah, that was a bit more fantastical. I think this one.
Oh yeah, sure. In terms of setting, but at least in terms of gameplay,
that's true. That's true.
Right.
Yeah, I would say it has similarities with So You Are Being Hunted. It hasn't got any of that humor and stuff. But and I was thinking it looked like, because when I started playing it, when Kat was talking about it, I was thinking of I'd seen a trailer for a game which was set called Firewatch, which was kind of looked like a similar kind of setting, but that one has a story and stuff. That one's not out yet, but that one's you're in a cabin. Looking out for forest fires in the wilderness in Wyoming or something, and I don't know what actually happens, but you're on the phone in the trailer. The guy's on the phone to his, I don't know, his colleague, or maybe his ex-wife. I can't figure it out, but it obviously had some emotional story to it or something, and it looks super cool in a different way to the Long Dark. But I don't know how the gameplay of that is. I mean, it looks like kind of survivally, but a bit more. Like you can actually see the guy's hands in that. Like it might be more differently done than the Long Dark is like standard FPS. You can't see yourself, and you use things to pick them up, and they disappear and they appear in your inventory. You know,
okay, sure,
it's that kind of thing. Yeah, but it's pretty cool. And he kind of talks to himself like, "Oh God, if I don't get warm, I'm gonna die," or whatever.
So they're your hints rather than the meters.
Yeah.
Or like
well, the meters are.
Like,
the meters are hidden away. No, they're kind of hidden away. You have to kind of open up a menu to be able to see that stuff. Like it's totally without.
Okay, right.
Without HUD, basically. I think, yeah, it's pretty cool. I would check it out.
Kind of cool. Yeah.
It looks good. It's very atmospheric. The lighting is like quite nice. Like it's not super detailed or anything, but it has just a cool look to it.
A lot of those games do seem very good at sort of getting that, sort of getting the atmosphere right.
Yeah.
But on a lot of them, I'm not sold necessarily on, how you'd actually play it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Partly because of maybe the fact that it's not random actually works in its favor in this case, because there seems to be the capability of getting better if you know where you are. But
I think you could get better. I think that otherwise I'd be really frustrated because it's quite hard to survive more than a few hours.
So You Are Being Hunted sets itself apart, I suppose, because that is totally random.
Yeah, that's all procedural, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, check that out. The Long Dark.
Is there an end game at all? Like, or is that to come? Like,
not yet. It's just as far as I know, it's just survive as long as you can.
Okay.
Currently,
so like even in sandbox mode, that's like there's no win condition yet.
No, I think the story will have a win, I guess. But
Yeah,
I don't think the sandbox mode will. Yeah.
Interesting.
But it's quite satisfying to learn how to not die within a day or something.
Yeah. Where it's like, I can actually survive. So is there like a sleeping mechanic and stuff as well?
There is a sleeping mechanic. Yeah, there is, and you can easily die in your sleep if you're not,
not prepared.
If you're wounded or whatever, or too cold. So you do have to prepare stuff.
Yeah, interesting. Does it teach you any real survival skills?
Well, there's like a big disclaimer at the start saying, obviously, don't.
No. It's bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It doesn't seem too bullshit, but I don't think it teaches you true skills.
Speaking of early access stuff and updates, I guess I remember that there was the last update for Kerbal Space Program, another one.
Oh.
Where they made the Space Center destructible.
Oh, really?
So if you fuck up, you can fuck up really badly now.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Which really, I mean, when you look at that from like the gameplay perspective, it's absolutely 100% a negative thing. There's no upside to this being added. So if you crash into the moon, you just have to spend a bunch of your money. And, money is not a totally free resource in the career mode.
No.
So it's like there's no actual benefit to this.
Well, it makes sense, yeah.
Apart from being cool.
Yeah. I guess it gives you another one of these targets or something.
But honestly,
don't screw yourself.
How many times are you even going to collide with the Space Center? It's like your launch would have to go extremely wrong for that.
And in the exact right direction as well.
Yeah, and in one specific direction.
Yeah.
It's just like the real Cape Kennedy. I'm sure it's so unlikely that because it's a little distance to the launch pad for a good reason. I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly. They put it far away and then launch in a direction that's not directly overhead. Launch out over the sea.
Yeah, that's what they do.
So yeah, that happened, and then they sort of in the patch notes they suggested that there was the FAQ or whatever where they were talking about. Why did you put this in? Because it seems kind of pointless. And they were sort of teasing in that patch notes where it was talking about it's basically groundwork for the next thing we're going to add. And I think they've talked about before they wanted to have cities.
Yeah, because eventually presumably Kerbal will actually look like it's a real planet, right?
Well, it does look quite a lot like a real planet, but
it's just grass.
Population.
Yeah.
It's got trees and shit, although you can't collide with the trees. Maybe that's what they're going to do. Maybe they'll update the trees as well to make them collide. All the other crap, all the rocks and stuff on the moon, make it even harder to fucking land anyway. That'll be fun. I don't know. People have also been suggesting that maybe they'll be able to do some kind of base building, actually not just the Space Center, being able to build bases on other planets and maybe extract resources or some shit. I mean, there's already a mod that does resource extraction with special, things that you have to take to a place to extract the resources from it. But I don't know. There's still stuff that they could do to that game, I guess, as always.
Oh, yeah.
And the other thing that happened mainly in this patch was they did a big update to a lot of the aerospace parts. All the wing... I think they basically incorporated a mod that had already done it, but they pretty much just sort of standardized the model style of all the wings, so they all look like they're consistent now instead of being here's a random bunch of crap.
Right, yeah.
So that's nice, and then they added some extra stuff, extra different sizes and shapes of ailerons and different angles of wing.
Make the plane look a bit more plane-like.
Yeah, and different bodywork. But I think maybe they've gone too far because it's almost trivially easy to build a space plane now if you have the parts.
Right.
I just put some shit together in 2 minutes because it's there's this special type of bodywork which isn't the normal rocket bodywork because obviously the normal rocket bodywork is a cylinder and that doesn't necessarily work very well for planes. So there's this special it's sort of more plane shaped. It's curved on the top and the bottom, but then it fins out towards where you'd attach the wings.
Right.
But then they've made those, but they come with there's the version which only has liquid fuel, so when you're running air-breathing engines, you can have that. And then there's the version which has liquid fuel and oxidizer, so if you've got a rocket engine, you can run it off that, but it's still the same shape, so it's all nice and consistent and in line with your bodywork. It's it's maybe a bit too easy now. Yeah. I just shit together a space plane in 2 minutes and just went whoop. Also,
or is that stuff intended to be in the career mode, at least very late stuff?
Well, I mean, obviously the thing that makes it the easiest is from a few patches ago when they introduced that Rapier engine that automatically switches between air breathing and oxidizer.
Oh, yeah.
Because then you can just go and just fly. And it doesn't take any effort at all.
Yeah, you don't need to worry about the transition.
No. So, yeah. It's kind of a bit easy. I think the rockets might actually be harder when you have all the stuff unlocked.
Yeah, maybe.
But then again, obviously with space stations, you probably can't carry as much stuff. You can't have as big payloads. Although for the first time they've added on the space plane, they've added a special part that's actually a cargo bay with doors, and you can put something tiny in it and have it come out.
Oh, that's cool.
Although it would have to be pretty goddamn tiny for it to fit in the space there is.
Open the bay doors.
Yep, exactly.
Open the pub bay doors, Hal.
And there's been mods before that do. I've seen several times. There's a weird mod that someone made where if you build a payload, like a satellite or whatever, on top of your rocket, it looks dumb, but it functionally works in the base game. But there's a mod where you can just have a special part that you add that procedurally generates a fairing around the shape of your payload on the top of the rocket.
Oh, cool.
So it just makes it look cool.
Yeah.
Not sure if it has any other benefit to maybe takes the mass of all the parts that are inside the fairing and then just singularizes it to one center of mass.
Does it have a button to make it sort of break apart and stuff?
Well, that's like the staging of all the parts do that basically.
Yeah, but that's cool. That's what you want, isn't it? Right? You just need it to be able to go.
Well, they do that for the engine fairings at the moment, where those come off, they break in half or whatever. So yeah, I expect I wouldn't be surprised if that mod makes it into the air game in the end as well.
Yeah, that'd be neat. Kerbal.
Yep, that's Kerbal. It's
still early access.
Yep, still alpha, I guess. They another announcement that appeared about it was they sort of suggested that it won't be very many more patches. Maybe the next patch will be when they move to beta, when they've done adding stuff.
Wow.
Or done adding stuff to a 1.0 version anyway. There's still a lot more stuff they want to add at some point.
I can imagine they keep going. The question arises, though, is how far can they keep going whilst still making money from it or something? How many more players could they really draw in at this point?
Yeah, well, it depends it depends whether they're worried about continuing money or whether they've just made a huge pile of money and now they're we can live off this for a while we continue to add shit. It's the classic developer question about enthusiasm for your work, where it's after you've made a huge pile of money, you just be I can't do that.
There is a point where you need to stop, yeah.
Well, not need to, where it's your enthusiasm to continue, because you're not being driven by the prospect of money then. You've got the money.
No, but yeah, I get that. But can they really maintain a sort of Minecraft level of success? Maybe not Minecraft level, but that kind of enough of a flow that Minecraft somehow has.
But it's Minecraft. They don't care about the flow any longer either. They probably haven't cared about the flow for a million years at this point.
It still makes a ton of money, though.
Yes, I know it does, but they probably didn't care about it for a long time at this point.
I don't know.
They probably made the huge pile of money and then they were good.
I don't know.
What did you play?
Well...
Get your brain into a functional state and talk about what you played.
Yeah.
You've got about 3.5 minutes at this point, so...
Okay. I'll make it 15. I'll get through in 15. I haven't been playing a great deal, because as I say, I've been in this sort of holding pattern, where I don't really want to start anything.
Waiting to buy something.
Yeah. I don't really want to start anything big, so I've been sort of going back to things and doing lots of little bits. I suppose the newest new game that I actually started playing was Luftrausers.
Yeah.
Or Luftrausers, however you want to say it. Rousers? Is it Rousers or Rousers?
Whatever.
Okay.
Because maybe you could be bothered to try and get a more accurate pronunciation, or maybe you're just calling it what the word looks like.
Yeah. So I started playing that, and I've played that for about... Well, actually, I played the majority of that in the time I spent with it in one sitting, because it is one of those I can't stop games. It's I don't really have an urge to start playing it, but when I'm in, it's hard to get out. So, like most of other Vlambeer's games, it relies on super short periods of gameplay with quite a high difficulty. So, it's for that reason that you keep playing it, because you go in, you last about 30 seconds, sometimes even shorter, a couple of seconds, and then you die, and then you try it again, because you go, oh, fuck, I can do better than that. Problem is, you probably can't. It's really hard, that game, really hard. Partly because of the interesting flight mechanics, which at first you think are cool, because it's it has you hold up to thrust, and then you can turn whilst in the air and stuff like that. But the main combat mechanic is to stop thrusting, essentially stall your plane's engine, so you're floating, rotate while you're just falling, shoot backwards at the things following you, and then thrust to get away and stuff like that. And it's managing that sort of momentum of thrust, fall, shoot, thrust, to try and get about and kill things, and the handling is fun. But then the problem I sort of have is that the rest of the game's mechanics seem to be fighting that one pure element of fun. Actually casually going around and shooting stuff is fine. But if you want to try and avoid getting into trouble, it's impossible. because like you don't have a lot of health, so you take like 3 bullet. If you took 3 bullet shots in quick succession, I think with a normal body, that's enough to kill you. And you just run into a patch of them, and you'll be like, blah, done. And it's like, oh. And because of the way the handling works, you generally don't have enough maneuverability to get yourself out of a problem by the time you've seen it, because the bullets will move real quick. So it's sort of like equal amounts of awesome and equal amounts of there was fucking nothing I could do about that.
Oh, God.
Well, my turn to get coughing. So it's hard to say whether I actually like it or not, because it does a lot of cool things. Like, one of my favourite things, actually, is that it has a real quick unlock cycle. Like, so it doesn't take long for you to unlock the various bits of plane that you can then combine together in any way that you choose. You get, like, you can change the gun, you can change the body, and you can change the thruster. And all 3 of those things can combine in different ways. Like, say I wanted to try and do a crazy-ass torpedo run, I can give myself a body that means I don't take damage by splashing into the sea, and then attach the body... Oh, there's the alarm. We're too long.
Sorry.
And then attach the melee body so you don't take impact damage when you run into stuff. So then you can basically just skip like a fish along the water trying to take out boats and hope that you don't get shot, because the melee body takes even fewer shots before it explodes.
Genius.
So some of that stuff is really cool. Although the homing missiles are fucking useless. Like, it's totally awful. And it does other cool things, like, so when you pick those combinations, the combination of what you've chosen also defines what the style is of the music that's playing. So the drum track will change based on your gun. The sort of the lead track will change based on your body, and the bass line will change based on the thruster. It's like, that's cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's like, so when you put it on random mode, you're getting a slightly different version of the track each time. It's nice.
It's ingenious.
So they, I think this is Brian Beer's bag all over. Really, they like doing this super quick 30 seconds of fun thing. But it's kind of hard to take seriously because of the you could insta die at any time, and because of you just can't do a lot about it. And sometimes that's because of the color scheme, because it's like our palette of 4,
right?
All of them shades of like red and beige.
Okay.
Eventually, you can unlock different. Like, you can eventually unlock the ability to change the palette, like, to various presets. Which it's kind of cool, because it makes that sort of old school looking aesthetic, and because they've chosen red and beige, it looks a bit like an old film. And the game's even forced into a 4:3 aspect ratio. Again, on purpose, okay. I think, to make it feel a bit old schooly, but widescreen would have been appreciated for more visibility.
I mean, they did widescreen for freaking Shovel Knight, and that's meant to look like a NES game.
Oh, yeah, that would be pretty cool. I kind of really want to play that. That and Freedom Planet, which is the sort of... It's like a Sonic fan game, except apparently it's actually really pretty good. So yeah, I find it hard to recommend this as a result, because
I see, okay.
It's hard to play as a proper game. And I say that to a lot of games, but it's like, I guess someone out there will have developed enough skill to play it maybe properly, but man, that level is high. That bar is so high if you want to actually do it with any skill. I mean, the combo system as well is kind of working against you, because under normal play, that's like it basically just, your multiplier goes up every time you kill something, but if you don't kill something within a certain period of time, you drop back to normal.
Right.
And the only good way to get score is to get good combos and keep it up for a long time. Because it maxes out at like times 20 or something, which is quite a bonus. But then you can go through like periods where you get your combo up or something to a certain point, and then the things that are easy to kill are no longer spawning around you. So it's like, or are nowhere to be seen. It's like, well, there's nothing to shoot. I can't keep this combo going. Well, shit. And then when the bigger targets start turning up, like the battleships and stuff, they are so hardy that actually including them in any part of your combo, if you really want to take one out, pretty much impossible.
Yeah.
So it's like I think there are some mechanical problems here. It's like,
yeah, it seems like you'd want to like chain into the big battleship and blow it up in spectacular fashion.
Oh yeah, because you'd get tons of points for it, and it's.
But instead, you're trying to avoid it because it's so hard.
Yeah, they're so hardy, and the guns on it are like they fire like minigun style barrages of stuff. Oh, that's the other weird thing. Bullets don't seem to dissipate. Like a battleship on the floor can fire into the uppermost regions of the sky because the bullets don't stop. And it's like, that's probably fine from a sort of realism and a screen-filling hectic technique.
Yeah.
But that means you could be at, like, the skybox, like the top of the sky, and have bullets coming at you from the ground that you can't see coming. Because you've got no bearing on where the battleship is when you're just in the sky.
That makes sense.
It's like, yeah, so I don't know. It kept me engaged, but I might be close to being done with it after like 5 hours or something. And as I say, I think I played like 3 or 4 of those hours in one sitting because it's just so hard to stop. Despite all these misgivings I have with it, it's really hard to stop.
Well, it sounds like it's worth a try if it's that hard to stop, you know.
Yeah. But as I say, because of those things, as a game, you know, if I'm reviewing it critically, I can't really. I'm not sure I'd put it on our curator page. Let's put it that way.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be like if there was such a thing as the sort of sideways thumb, it would be there because I'm just not sure about it. It's like I can't say it's bad. I can't say it's good. But
sideways thumb. That's our review.
Yeah, sideways thumb. But if you like Vlambeer, you'll probably get into this. So I actually went back and played a bit of Super Crate Box because I didn't realize it was free on Steam. So it's like, so I thought I'd go play that, and you know, I've played it before, but that's one of Vlambeer's earlier things, and it's like I think I much prefer Super Crate Box to Luftrausers just because it's like it's much simpler, but it's and almost more random in some aspects because of every time you pick up a crate, you get a different weapon, and some weapons are fucking useless, but. But it's a lot of fun. I kind of like that. So personally, I prefer Super Crate Box, but yeah, it's Vlambeer all over. So if you're a fan, probably can't go wrong.
Cool.
What else have I been doing? I'm trying to think actually. God, bit more Forza 5. Oh, I've been playing quite a lot more Plants vs Zombies. I've gone back into that.
Of course.
More content dropped and stuff. Like don't know if I talked about the
Happy Salad Game of the Year, Plants vs Zombies.
It's going to be hard to beat in my book. Because I don't know if I talked about the Capture the Flag taco mode or whatever that came in.
You did talk about some new stuff.
Yeah. It's not really Capture the Flag. It's more sort of like one team has the tacos and the other team has to steal them from them and get them back to base. So it's it's like one flag, except you have to do it 3 times, I suppose, to get it to be end game. But that's kind of fun, actually. But I don't think many people are actually playing that mode is the problem. It still seems if you want to get into a game, you have to go to like Gardens and Graveyards or perhaps the mix mode. But I've been having some trouble getting into some of the newer game types. Which makes me think maybe the population is starting to drop off, but EA the new stuff just keeps getting released for it, so you know they're still going, and like you can now get Halloween packs and stuff, which are like every time you log into the game until Halloween, you get like a Halloween set of stuff for your characters, and it's like, oh no, that keeps drawing me back, just free stuff. It's a great game. I still have a lot of fun with it. It's not got old. Which is more than you can say for Titanfall.
That didn't get old because you didn't play it enough.
Well, it doesn't.
You didn't play it enough to get old.
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't draw me. Like Plants vs Zombies. Like I played. Plants vs Zombies is a high candidate for getting the Rob most played game of the year. Like I've put so many hours into it. And I haven't put nearly as many as Kippers has and that kind of thing. It's a great fucking game.
Really? Does Kippers play that more than you do?
I think he has done. I think Kippers plays games more intensely than I do. Yeah. He gets onto one thing and sticks to it for
non-stop Forza Horizon for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. He's quite intense. Two other things I suppose that are worth mentioning. I've played a tiny amount of Chariot, which was this month's free game on Xbox Gold. Which it's a brand new release, just came out of the blue, and they were like, "Oh, hey, here's a free brand new game," and it's a little indie title by, I think they're called Freema, funded by Canada. It seems it's like the game, when the game starts, it says like, "Oh, hey, this has been funded by Canada Media Fund or something." All of Canada have paid for this, and it's like a puzzle platformer where you have to drag around a cart and get it to the end of the level where you can move, and you basically just have a rope that you can magically attach to one side of the cart or not. And it's primarily designed as a co-op game, which is a bit of a problem for me because that means I've got to try and convince someone to play it. I mean, you can solo some of it, but you'll be missing out on some stuff. But I kind of like it. It's like, it's simple enough and physicsy enough to work, and they've started throwing in more interesting stuff that, like, I haven't got very far with it, but they've started throwing in things like, oh, okay, these are platforms that only you can walk on, but the cart passes right through. Oh, and these are the platforms that work the other way that the cart can rest on, but you can't. And it's, the way that the physics nature of like having to like manipulate the rope and to try and not make too much noise in some places, otherwise you attract looters to steal the treasure from your cart and things like that. It's the way some of that hangs together is actually pretty nice. Although the aggro you receive if you do make too much noise and alert looters to your position seems to last way too long. But because it means you're just standing there fighting them off for a while rather than actually doing what you want to do, which is solve the puzzle. So I'm not necessarily convinced by the looter mechanic at this point, but it seems kind of nice. Everyone is way too perky, especially the skeleton that sells you shit. He's just like, "Hey, go see the waterfalls. They're enchanting," that kind of thing. It's I won't talk too much about it now because I barely scratched the surface with it, but
Cool. We'll have an update next time.
I'll play that a bit and come back to it. Maybe if I can convince... we have done a little bit of co-op with Gnome, and that seemed kind of entertaining, trying to figure out how to do what are already kind of difficult puzzles to try and move the cart where you want to go right at the start of the game. Like the 2-player challenges are kind of tricky to pull off. Just trying to figure out how you're supposed to do it is kind of interesting. But it's a sort of different way of thinking that I'm not sure I've really done. But, I enjoy it. If I could get Zach to play it, then that would be great. But
you never know.
You never know. No comment.
We've got too much other stuff to do is the trouble. When I come here, we've got to record videos and podcasts and eat pizza.
All the important things.
Yep, all those important things.
Speaking of which, it might be time.
Oh, it's so time to get pieced.
Yeah.
And the other thing I've been playing, last thing, is I've actually played quite a bit more Paper Mario.
Oh, good, finally.
Awesome.
I went back to 1,000 Year Door and finished off Chapter 4 because I hadn't quite finished it after all.
Jesus. Still half the game to go.
Yeah, I played through Chapter 5, and I've just got to Poshly Heights in Chapter 6.
All right. That's basically
pretty much the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the one thing I've sort of realised, like, I think the further you go through that game, the more that game fucking loves backtracking. Because, oh my god, you just do a lot of walking to one place, and then walking back, and then walking to that place again, and then walking back.
Nothing compared to Chapter 4, though.
Chapter 4 is all that. The start of Chapter 5 is that, because you start off on the beach, and you go through the jungle to the rock, and then you have to come back, and then you do it again, and then you come back, and then you do it again, and then you can finally go into the interesting bit of the level. And, all of the train is basically walk to one end of the train, walk to the other end of the train.
On the train, it's just like, it's literally just a walking and talking level.
Oh yeah, until you get to the station, and then it gets a little more interesting. But that game fucking loves backtracking, and it's like it does get annoying because I've been playing quite a bit of it, and I think maybe I've been playing too much of it because that's become a problem with me.
Just always ride the Yoshi.
Well, yeah, I do that. I do that quite a lot as well, but it's I don't know. It's just slightly too much of it, and it's not the first. I think I only ever really noticed it at first when I played through Super Paper. Well, I didn't even finish it, but when I was playing Super Paper Mario, I started to notice they fucking love backtracking in this game.
Well, it was it's like more terrible in that game.
Yeah. But now that I'm noticing it in Thousand Year Door, it's like, oh, maybe this is just a Paper Mario thing. I really hope it isn't.
I don't think it was that bad. The Chapter 5 one isn't that bad because it's not nearly as long as any of the other ones. Just going into the jungle and then out and then back.
No.
Open up the actual part.
It's got a couple of annoying-y platformy bits because I don't like doing the Yoshi hover.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem quite so tight. Well, platforming in that game isn't super tight anyway. But...
Well, it's because of the weird jump arc of that game.
Yeah.
It's weirdly...
It's very vertical.
Where it's just like, look.
Yeah. It's more vertical, I think, than most. Doesn't necessarily feel like Mario, but that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No.
I don't know. The writing's always good, though.
Yeah.
It's consistently great. Although I had a hard time putting a Mexican accent on Cortez the pirate, who is obviously talking, or even Spanish for that matter, who is obviously Spanish.
I don't know about that, though.
He says like amigo and...
I've imagined like some kind of monster voice. I wasn't thinking he had an actual accent at all.
Yeah.
He was just a loud monster.
I think that's the problem when it's like a text-based game or something. You sort of just read it. I don't think I read it sometimes as the dialogue obviously intended it. Like the Piantas or something, like where they're talking all syndicate and like gangsterish, and it's like I don't hear that.
Give them an Italian accent.
No, I don't hear that voice in my head. Like that, I think they're trying to portray in text. But backtracking aside, it's still a pretty great game.
It's like the writing is the main trouble with the writing in that game, in terms of it being awesome, is the bits that depend on what secondary character you have.
Yeah, sometimes it's...
Because it's like, there's sometimes when you actually do see like, if you happen to be going through the same bit twice because of something, like you reloaded a save or whatever, and you see the different characters have different, like, text, basically.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of...
Because, I mean, it's like, Mario doesn't talk, obviously, so most of the time it's the fucking... Your partner is doing the talking, and how they react to different stuff differently.
Like having Bobbery has obviously been awesome because he speaks in that sort of ye olde English style. It's like, I say, old chap. It's like...
But then the trouble with that is, like, obviously most of the time you just want Goombella out because she has the infos.
Yeah, and she seems like, and some of her reactions are actually pretty great,
and like. Make more sense in most contexts. It's like she's more averagely good at the context of the game.
Yeah. She seems more suited to more situations, I guess, because she's not necessarily been involved with anyone else in a way.
Yeah, and she's been there the whole time, so she has the most coverage of the backstory.
Yeah, sometimes it is weird when you, like, I think when I'd only just met Bobbery, for instance, and then something happened, and he seemed to know exactly what was going on. It's like, how the fuck do you know what's happening here? It's like, I've just met you. Because Mario can't speak and all that. Yeah. Well, he does, but you never hear him.
Well,
he just goes, aha, and suddenly everyone knows exactly what he said.
Or he doesn't wave his hand animation.
Yeah.
Talks about something.
And that the fucking diary.
What?
It kills you. It properly game overs you. It's like, God damn it. I was lucky I'd saved like 2 seconds before, but it's like, I wasn't expecting it to actually just game over you from reading the fucking diary. Despite all of the, like, Like, it was making such a big deal of all the messages. Like, no, seriously, something really bad will happen. And it's like, yeah, but you've already described it as a curse. And it's like, the rest of the game describes curses as a good thing.
Well, mainly because of the stupid unlocking the skill treasures.
Yeah.
Like, I curse you, motherfucker. And it's like, well, that's a new skill for me, thanks.
Well, I love how they start playing with that, with the narrative. Like, when you get the one in the pirate level, and he's basically like, what, you mean you know this is going to work? And you know that you actually want the curse?
Yeah.
You don't think the curse is bad? Oh, all right. Can I at least do my dramatic entrance? I've been planning this for years. Yeah, that's great. I love all that. So yeah,
Paper Mario.
Paper Mario, still pretty great. Is it the same guys that did? I may have asked this before, but is it the same guys that do the Mario and Luigi's now?
I don't remember.
Because it's intelligent systems, right? The Paper Mario's, but
yeah, I guess.
Sometimes I wonder if it's the same people doing half the stuff, with the same name on it.
Oh yeah, maybe. Although, what else are intelligent systems really doing? Like, I forget what they're up to these days.
Yeah,
because it's obviously not Advance Wars.
Well, they did all the push mode stuff, but that's pretty much done.
Oh, yeah. Or maybe
so they're not up to that any longer.
I guess, yeah. Push Mode World happened not that
Push
long ago.
World.
So. Push Mode.
Pushmo World. Pushmo World.
Push Mode. What's it called? It's not called Pushmo here, is it?
Why do we discuss this every single time? You're not capable of retaining this information.
I'm not. I'm really not, because Pushmo is a great name. Well, it's not, but it's a memorable name. But is it like Smash Blocks or something? Pool Blocks.
Oh my god, that's bad.
Yeah, they're bad names. Pushmo is awesome. Pushmo.
Okay.
Yeah, we're done here. Wrap it up.
We're done here.
Yep.
Thanks, guys, for listening to another Saladcast. Join us again next time for more
news, hopefully.
For some actual news.
At least one new game.
And at least one new game.
I don't know. I don't think COD will be quite out by the time we next do the cast.
We'll have
one new game.
We'll have Alpha Centauri 2 news next time.
Maybe I'll bite the bullet and just buy Bayonetta.
Yeah. Cool. And yes. And also video content coming up. So check out the site, happysalad.net. And catch you guys next time. Bye.
3 in the hopper to go up. So videos.
I'm going to sit here and stare at Rob until he actually gets updated this recording.
Oh yeah, I have to do that. Shit. Bye.
It's the end. Bye.